Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break your keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane. Living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your own prison cell. Hey, wait, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Did I brush you off? Is it your lack of friends? We never met, even if you pretend. Am I in your debt? I don't know you nothing. Don't say something you'll regret. Hey, wait, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Hate, rage, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it on me. Wait, don't waste it on me. Spite, life's telling you, don't waste it. I'm telling you, don't waste it. Life's telling you, don't waste it on me.
Welcome to the world of gaming. Today we have a very special guest. BitCloud Gaming was joining us last minute, and I'm so happy he did because, man, we have a lot of things to talk about. What's going on over there at PlayStation, but we also gonna have a lot of other things to talk about because even though it wasn't the biggest news week of the year, there were quite a lot of things happening that we need to discuss. So it's gonna be an awesome show. But first, let me properly welcome everyone here in the chat. The people are already starting to discuss everything, which is awesome to see. But also, again, BitCloud, welcome and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh yeah, man! It's always fun catching up with you guys. You know, I try my best. I do try my best to make midweek. I'm like, I'm always bummed when I can't make it. But I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can make it today. And lo and behold, I'm here. So it's good to see everybody. Dutch, you know, of course, always good to see him. Look at Dutch. Look, already repping the beer. Look at this guy. Oh yeah. If you're wondering what's going on with Dutch's background, I actually visited him yesterday and I took care of all his stuff. So all this stuff
he just stole all of my items. So
but good to see everybody in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Let's have a good show.
Yeah, we're gonna have an awesome show. We're gonna co-stream this today with Dutch, of course.
yes.
So that that your channel gets also some traction because that's what YouTube likes, right? And when you don't have a podcast on Wednesday on your channel,
yeah,
you're gonna get screwed by YouTube. So we're co-streaming here today. But man, how you doing? I mean, look at you being robbed here in the background.
Yeah. I'm so the stream / game room. It might sound a bit echoey actually because nothing's in it at the moment. But yeah, it's getting redone again. As you can see, everything's been taken down. The TV, the shelving, the PlayStation, Xbox, it's all gone. Entire thing's been repainted, rejigged, got some brand new carbon fiber computer desks, new wall mounts, new lighting and everything. So that's in the middle of getting done. Literally first coat of paint before the podcast started. So after the podcast, second coat of paint. But yeah, it's been awesome. I haven't, but that's why the podcast wasn't on yesterday. Everything started work on that. Going to try and get it done before next week, because of course next week is a big old week of charity drive. So it was important.
Yes. Let's talk about that real quick. That everyone has so that everyone has it on their radar.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. So we're raising money this year specifically for Special Effect, which is a charity for disabled, but essentially disabled young and older people, but mainly young. It's to help those with physical disabilities be able to play with their friends on computer games. So it provides all of the technology required for them to be able to essentially try and live a normal as life as possible, and be able to play with their friends on any game they want. And again, be able to be social, because a lot of these kids and people are unable to do so due to their physical disabilities. So it's awesome. We've had some awesome news already, but when the charity starts, I'm sure we'll announce that. But we've had some big donations and things already guaranteed. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. So week-long streams, ending with a marathon stream, 24-hour stream next weekend. And then the 2 weeks after, we're doing a mountain hike. So climbing a mountain, Blencathra via Sharp Edge in the Lake District. We're doing that twice over 2 days. So that's going to be awesome as well. So yes, a lot going on, but I can't wait for it.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna put the link definitely here in the show notes, so that everyone who wants to can definitely check it out and maybe donate. But yeah, guys, we're gonna have an awesome show, and we always start the show by talking about the games we played, and I played a lot, so I have a lot to talk about. But first, I want to shout out Pyromat, who sends in the first super of the day. He asks, who is the next PlayStation CEO, John Riccatello or Bobby Kotick?
Oh god, I can't see Bobby going there now. I don't know what's going on at PlayStation, but we're going to get into that.
Heel turn of all time if Bobby Kotick walked into PlayStation.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, the timing aligns, right? I don't know.
He's already got
I don't know.
parachute, so I don't know. He probably done. I think he's done with the industry as a whole.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I would assume so. And usually those executives, they have like this is called in English paragraph in their contract where you can't join a competitor within a certain time frame.
Yeah, it's usually 12 months.
Yeah,
I've got the same in my contract. I'm not allowed, well, specifically, but usually they can be a bit lax. Usually they're a little bit lax.
But and the higher up you go, the longer the period is.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
for me it's only 3 months, but yeah. So we shall see who the next CEO will be, and we will probably talk about that also a little later. But now, guys, I want to know, what has kept you guys busy? What have you been playing? And also in the chat, let us know what you guys have been playing lately.
Yes, for me, I did a Halloween stream. So I started the Dead Space remake for the first time.
Oh, nice. How is it?
Love it. I shat my pants a few times. I saved frequently. But no, it's a great game, and it's just one of them games that it's just relentless. It's non-stop. Like every time you think you've got a little bit of peace, it just more jump out at you. You're just like, oh, hell, give us a break. And I've now got to the point where I'm running out of ammo really quickly. I'm like, oh my god, this is just non-stop. So I'm like stamping on them and hitting them, just punching them, and I'm just trying to run away. But I love it. They've done an absolutely amazing job with the game, to be fair. It's so well done, the Dead Space remake, and yes, that's been good. And I was also playing another game, an indie game from years ago, from Wired Productions called Those Who Remain. which is another horror game as well. And that one, again, I wouldn't say it's cheap and chatty, but the quality difference is stark compared to Dead Space.
Yeah.
But it does a really good job of the atmosphere and kind of creeping you out throughout it as well. And you've got some good chase scenes where you've kind of got to sneak past these monsters and things without being seen, otherwise you die. So yeah, it was good. It was good. So I've been playing those two at the moment, but I'm in the middle now of debating what else to play because I've recently finished Jedi Survivor, finished Starfield, and what else did I finish as well the other day? Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty. So I'll be playing Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, Dead Space, and I'm looking for another kind of RPG to fill in that hole, but I don't know what. So yeah, that's me at the minute.
I have a couple of recommendations because I started a good one, but let's hear BitCloud first.
So for me, finished up Spider-Man 2.
Same
it was,
here.
Incredible experience when I played
Yeah.
it. This was great. All I gotta say is thank you, Insomniac, for keeping PlayStation relevant. That's all I gotta say. Insomniac Games is top tier after what I've experienced. Aside from Spider-Man 2, I've been playing games like Survivor Mercs. I dropped a review for that for Loginet, so it was pretty cool. Pretty cool game. Basically, early access game. Another one that's early access has been playing is Battle Shapers. So a lot of stuff. It's like hands-on, early hands-on. I've been playing that hasn't dropped yet officially all the way, but we're going to be, when that drops is ready. And in terms of everything else, I still got to play. I'm glad I waited for Cyberpunk, like for everything for Cyberpunk till I dropped before I actually got back into it, because like I didn't really get all the way invested into Cyberpunk, so I do want to fully tackle that because
you're gonna love it. It is literally
it
one of my
looks a lot
favorite of this
better.
generation, without a shadow of a doubt.
oh wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to playing that.
And like
getting back on it.
especially the first section of Phantom Liberty as well is just crazy. Like
okay.
yeah.
Nah, it looks great. I'm glad that CD Projekt Red actually took the feedback. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But it's another to actually like act on it and give you what you really, really want out of the game. Like that's something that I think a lot of developers are lacking.
Yeah.
You see a lot of developers I don't want to say played the sob story, but you have some do other ways to try to get traction. Like you've seen it recently with the devs behind Quantum Error. And well, that just failed miserably because they were trying to console war. So
Mhm.
yeah. But that and I still gotta play Lies of P. There's a lot of games in my backlog. I just haven't been able to get to, but it's games I gotta tackle. But yeah, this has been a great year. I just want to say it's been a great year of gaming.
Oh,
Absolutely
unbelievable.
Absolutely.
insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane year. Actually, I wanted to talk to you guys about that a little later in the show because people are already discussing what's going to be Game of the Year, and this will be incredible hard this year because I think genuinely people think that 2007 was probably the best year in gaming, but 2023 just keeps on nailing it. And so BitCloud, I also finished Spider-Man 2. Absolutely loved it. Amazing story, incredible pacing.
You did all the side quests?
I did all
Like all
the actual
fire
side
ones?
quests. Yes, the fire ones I did.
So you see the twist. I did not see that coming, and that's all I gotta say for part 3. If they're doing a part 3 with that or DLC, I'm locked in. Like, holy wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you play it? Spider-Man 2?
Not yet. No, it's not. You know what it is? I've played Spider-Man 1. I've played the vast majority of it. I like it, but I don't love it. I'm not a big superhero guy. Like the only superhero game I've liked a lot was the Marvels, not Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the
Loved
Galaxy.
It. Love that. But Spidey, I'm like, I like it, but you know what I hated about that they didn't improve in this one?
Mhm.
I know because everyone said exactly the same thing. Side quests are dog shit.
Yeah, there are some that are kind of pointless. Box will tell you, but then there are other ones that are absolute
That
gems
are
when
really,
they
really
turn
good.
into gems when you finish
Yeah.
the actual outcome. That's why I'm like,
Yeah,
appearances are very deceiving to a lot of them,
yeah,
but others I would agree. Like they're like, like I'm helping somebody find their grandfather. I mean, I get it
Yeah.
if it's the theme of the whole friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but it's like,
yeah, yeah.
why am I doing that again? But I get what they were trying to do in that aspect. Um, yeah, no,
No,
it's
I absolutely loved
different.
it. I thought the combat was. I mean, the combat already was very good, right? In the first one, but it's a lot more diverse because you can focus on like gadget combat or more of these
Yeah.
special ability combat style, and the pacing again was phenomenal in that game. I never felt bored. The traversal with the wingsuit,
Oh yeah, dude.
chef's kiss.
I was sitting there
Um,
going, that maybe like I didn't think they would expand upon it that much in that degree. Like because remember how like
mm,
it was more style over substance when you did like the dive bomb in the original one, and then like
yeah,
it just like did that slow little swing. This one it was like, hold my beer. No, you guys are gonna fly. You're gonna really fly
yeah,
through this city, and you feel it. And it's
yeah,
like, wow, this is incredible. And it kind of made me really want another Batman Arkham style game in the long run. To be honest with you guys, I really, really wanted one, like a
yeah,
properly done one from Rocksteady again after playing this. Like, golly, like just seeing how well they're able to push this. I already know Rocksteady could bring the heat with a
yeah.
properly done Batman game again, but they're done with Batman, unfortunately. They're doing Suicide Squad. That
Suicide
game
Squad.
even makes it, right? That game was in, well, I don't want to say it's developmental hell, but we saw the leaks and it got
I mean,
crucified.
it's
It got crucified.
they got crucified. Honestly, I still think the game looked fun to
Yeah.
me. Like,
Yep.
does it make sense that you have as a shark like the giant gun to fight? No, probably not. But
Yeah.
hey, it's a video game. At the very end of the day, it looked fun. The traversal looked fun. Colorful city. It's just
It's
something
more
very
too
different.
arcadic for my liking. Like I was expecting a little bit more something creepy, like a little bit more darker, like
Yeah,
grounded. You know what I
that's the
mean?
thing.
Like the
That's the
movie did.
thing.
Like when the movie made the shark killer, King Shark scary. He made him
Yeah,
scary. Like if this guy got near you, you're either gonna be either lunch or he's gonna rip you in half or type of thing. And he does that in the movie. There's
yeah,
nothing like that in this game. It's just like it's very
yeah.
scaled back in that regards. And it sucks because this is the last time we'll ever hear Kevin Conroy be Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
True.
hurts. That really, really hurts.
That's so true. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I want to see what they do because the biggest criticism was around the games as a service stuff, and I mean they delayed the game a whole year. Let's see how they adjust.
You know what's got semi-positive ones that I was looking forward to? Avatar.
Tell me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it's
actually
got like
looks
in the
really
previews,
good.
people are saying, yeah, it's actually an alright game, and that's good enough for me because it could have been terrible. And that's the last one that I'm getting like purchasing this year. Alan Wake 2 and Avatar, the only two games that I'm purchasing for the rest of the year. So that's my last two. And Avatar, I was really looking forward to, especially the world.
Yeah.
You've got to think the type of world you want to explore. Avatar is definitely
is
up there.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pandora is really, really cool. I do think, well, from what I've seen, from what they were showing, it looks like they were just retelling the first movie, but you're a different character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're kind of like you're your own character, and you're reliving it in a sense. You're learning how to fly. You go from being in the real world to being in this world. You do that. If it does do well, then it will be interesting to see if they actually do go that extra mile and tackle. Because I don't know if you guys seen Avatar 2.
Yeah.
In the second
I
movie?
have. Yeah.
I would love for them to do something like that. That was incredible with the water like creatures and just how they expanded it. I was like, wow, that's actually cool. But fingers crossed if it does well and it's actually a legit hit. Fingers crossed.
It does look good, and apparently the traversal is incredible, like flying around and everything. Apparently really good, so I cannot wait. But I also started Alan Wake 2 this week. And I was thinking about recording footage for the podcast, but then
it's just all story, so it's just spoilers. That's
it's all story, which is spoiler the game. So I'm not going to show Alan Wake 2 footage here today. Actually, because we're going to talk about that a little later, I'm putting on some grounded footage. Dutch, I found some grounded footage from the two of
for
us
yes.
when we first played the game when it
Yes.
launched, and we had no idea how to play the game. So
Yeah.
this is Dutch and me trying to figure out how to play grounded. I actually re-downloaded it because of the news, but let's get to that a little later. Alan Wake, guys, have you played it? I know you haven't, Dutch.
No, I haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it
Yeah.
either. It looks awesome, and I'm glad that it's getting the reception
It
that it's
is.
gotten, because the first one I thought was very like underrated game on Xbox.
Yeah.
I really thought it was underrated. So the fact that it's actually getting, this one's doing good is great. And also it just adds to what I said earlier. This has been a great year for gaming, like all things
indeed.
considered, despite some weird news we received, unnecessary console redesigns. We'll talk.
True to that.
Oof.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying Alan Wake. I was a little on the fence whether to wait for sale with this one, because it's been so long that I played Alan Wake, and I remember it being great, but I have so much else to play right now, and then FOMO hit me, seeing everyone talk about it and love it, and I'm glad I got it, because it really is good. The storytelling is incredible. I mean, it's got to be one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Honestly, the game looks phenomenal at times when the lighting is insanely good. The character models are amazing. The animation work is incredible. But the best part of it is, and I don't remember, it's been too long since I played Alan Wake. I don't remember the first one being a real horror game, more like a thriller kind of game,
Yeah, very suspense-filled, like tension almost.
Yeah, but this really had me shitting my pants a couple of times. Like, seriously, the atmosphere in this game is so dense, and then you have these jump scares, and you have these legit horror parts of the game, and then it takes you out of that horror part again into more like a murder mystery story where you have to figure out find certain clues and stuff, and it's like incredibly done. I'm really loving Alan Wake 2, and the praise I've seen online is very well deserved. It is truly a phenomenal game, but again, you can't put up gameplay without spoiling the game, so I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, it's very heavy. Like, it does like kind of like you guys remember that game Until Dawn? It does like that cut, what I mean, that cinematic cut to gameplay to cut. It does that seamlessly. So it's like it's a lot of that. You're getting a lot of context with each scene. But after watching, I was like, man, I kind of wish we got the Evil Within, like a new one at this time when these consoles just pushing that horror element. Like, we need more horror games.
I'm 100% sure that we will get one. Tango, we know that Tango is working on a bigger project, and it's got to be the Evil Within 3. So
I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. No, I'm really looking forward to playing Alan Wake 2, to be fair. It's the amount of praise that I've seen people give it, and a lot of people are changing their minds on the game of the year again and saying this is like legit.
Yeah. But I have to say something about this. This happens all the time when a new big shiny game comes out. Everyone is like, "Oh, this is my game of the year," and then the next game comes out, and now this is my game of the year. And so I always say, let's try to be a little bit more reflective. Wait till you have played the game, finished the game, moved on to something else, and then you can better judge how does it stick with you, right? Well, because during playing Starfield, I was sure, okay, that's my game of the year, and then Baldur's Gate 3, and that's the game of the year, and then Spider-Man, and now Alan Wake, and
it's funny because this is like the best year we've ever had for this, because we never had a year where we bounced off of games like this. Like this many. Like, first we all started off, and Dutch, you remember this? It was Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh,
that was like top of the level. I was like, dude, I don't think there's nothing that can top this. And then Spider-Man 2 comes, then you got Baldur's Gate 3, then you got Alan Wake 2, then you got Starfield, then you got, it's like there's too many games. Jedi Survivor, some people
Yeah.
put that high up in their game of the year category.
Diablo and everything. Yeah.
There's just too many good games. And even going into the game of
We
the
have
year
to
thing,
literally at this point in
it's just
time as well, BitCloud, we have to say it's becoming one of the best, if not the best, years for gaming, even over 2007 now, I think.
Yeah,
I would agree. It's like the quality games we've played this year is just insane.
Yeah. It's
and I
relentless
actually
as
started
well.
another
It's
one.
relentless. It's not just like every other. It's not like every 3 months. Now we're getting a Game of the Year contender every month. And it's like, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, sometimes two.
Yeah.
It's like, be careful what you ask for, you know what I mean? Type of thing. It's like, wow, I've been asking for this for so long. And wow, it's finally happening. And my brain can't process what's legit happening in front of me. Like, what? Like, that's another Game of the Year contender. Because a lot of these games I went in, I was expecting, you go in here with that, not necessarily like a weird type of vibe, but you go in with that lukewarm type of reception that you just kind of, you don't want to overhype yourself. You don't want to get too excited.
Yeah.
And then you just get blown away. That's literally has been this entire year, especially with the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing. I was like, okay, Hogwarts Legacy might be a bust. We've seen a lot of movie license games fall apart. And here I am falling in love with this world within like the first 10 minutes. I'm like, wow, they've really captured something special here. And then you got politics outside of this that has nothing to do with the game or the studio affecting it. It's like, oh boy, here we go. So
yeah,
I hate seeing that, but it's good though. It's a good year.
Yeah,
we haven't even gotten into Dead Space. Dead Space is another one that dropped.
The remake, and Resident Evil 4, the remake was also incredible. So.
Remake of that. Then they just dropped their Separate Ways DLC for that, which is another thing that's been well received. Just it's too much good stuff.
Yeah, it's an insane year, and I actually started a hidden gem that the people that played it also put it very high up on their list, and I start to see why. And this is Sea of Stars.
Yes,
I started that on my Rock Ally, and since you were asking for a RPG recommendation,
I know I've been playing that as well. Don't worry, I've got that on.
You played it already?
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but I'm playing it. It's my indie RPG.
All right.
Yeah, it's my.
Are you playing on the Rogue, or are you playing on PC?
I'm playing on the Rogue Ally. Yeah.
You are too, Dutch?
I'm on PC for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm early in, like I want to say 3 hours or so, but I really can see why people say this should be nominated for Game of the Year. It is actually really, really good.
The music as well. The music, the art style.
Yeah. Oof. Like some of, when I think back to the Super Nintendo days, there are a couple of like Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, Lufia, those kind of games that I loved them, and they all and Sea of Stars captures this music from that era so perfectly. It's really, really good, and they did, this small team did this soundtrack. It's an original soundtrack, right? Just for that game, it's incredible. Yeah, Pyromed in the chat sends in a channel member chat for being a channel member for 11 months.
And shout out to Pyromed as well, because he become a member on my channel today. So thank you very much.
Ooh, nice. He said, we need Dino Crisis remake before the next Resident Evil 1 remake. Yeah.
This generation, I don't think they're ready. I don't think they understand how creepy that game was, the original. I don't think they understand just how scary dinosaurs were. Like back when that game came out, the first Jurassic Park came out, and I know a lot of people look at it as this cinematic marvel. We saw that as a horror film when we were younger. That was like our horror film when we were younger. But now it's we got all these new engines. I would love to see that game.
Yeah, me too.
Running on the new Resident Evil engine, the dismemberment and all that. I mean, oh yeah.
Especially seeing how well Capcom has actually done those remakes. I mean, Resident Evil 2 was incredible. 3,
the guy did,
and now 4, outstanding. Yeah.
I would love to see that with a Velociraptor. Like you actually see a Velociraptor rip somebody in half. That would be great.
That would be absolutely fantastic. Dave Ramos sends in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. And he says, Boxy's Game of the Year advice is like a garlic and savory meal. A question, how long does the game linger with you after the meal is over? Hit that like button, folks. Yeah, first of all, thank you for reminding everyone. We would appreciate you guys hitting the like button.
Yeah.
People always tell me I forget to tell people. That's probably true. So, yeah, please hit the like button. And if you're new here, of course, consider subscribing. Super appreciate that. And now to your question, Dave. How long does the game linger with you after the meal is over? Yeah, well, that really depends. I mean, the really good ones, they stick with you, and you think about them a month after you've played it, 2 months after you played it, and that's when you can tell a game is really special, because usually you have fun while playing a game. Otherwise, you wouldn't be playing it. You would play something else. But
if a game has you giddy, literally like searching every particular area just out of your own will because you just want to see what's happening, all that stuff, and you just want to like legit pick up every detail, find stuff, yeah, you're gonna remember that. You're gonna that is gonna stick with you for a while, especially when the game is done, because you're gonna be there's more gonna be desired. You're gonna probably want DLC, or you're just gonna be like, hey, you know what? Give me an eventual, sequel type of thing. Spider-Man 2 for me, after beating the side quests, and getting the endings and everything, it had me going, there's so many potential things you can do with this. Sequel is one thing, but side quests or DLC is another. And Tony Todd, Venom and stuff is like, I do want more of that. But we'll see. It's a lot of things.
You shall see. Yeah. So, yeah, but I think we're going to get into a little Game of the Year discussion a little later in the show, because I have a couple of things I wanted to ask you about that. But now let's close what we've been playing and get into some actual topics. We are already here 40 minutes into the show. So, yeah, guys, let's start with the some smaller news items. Grounded. A game I actually really enjoyed. Just got a Forge mode, and it reminded me of a super chat we got last week from TJ, and he was asking which game should get a treatment like Halo with the Forge mode, and we said different things, but nobody mentioned Grounded, and now they actually got one. Have you guys seen this, and what do you think about this?
I think it's awesome. To be fair, it's a great world to be able to build whatever you want in. You can build a tree house over here. You can build a fort over here. You can add anything you want. You can add underground bits with an ant's nest or different kind of creatures you need to kind of avoid, and gassy areas and things like that. So I think people are like Halo Forge, people are going to get extremely creative in what they create in this, and it's going to be very interesting to see what people make. And that's the beauty of some of these modes, is just seeing how creative the community can be and what they can produce in the game modes they can make. For instance, with a Forge mode like they have in Halo, they've made
some of the best maps.
Not even just that, they've made a battle royale in Halo now, which is really like hitting it off. People are loving the battle royale mode that the Forge guys have made. Wow. So we could see some form of battle royale mode coming into Grounded, believe it or not, which is insane to think about. But yeah, so yeah, I think it's just great that especially the small team that made Grounded have went out of their way to make a Forge mode in the game, to be able to let people be even more creative and share that creation with people. So yeah, hats off. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it actually, them embracing the community's creativity can actually help them. Like if they do make a sequel or an expansion of some sort, you can make it even better. Obviously, I do expect even more tools if they do like another DLC drop or an update for you to push even more with the game. But it's good. It's good to see for sure. I didn't expect this, but at the same time, that's the good thing about it. Like they see it. Yeah. So, how many players are on Grounded? Do you guys know how many players are on Grounded?
I
Did it,
mean, a
like,
while
boost
ago
the
they
community?
reported more than 10 million.
I think it was
Oh, okay.
15. I think the
Wow.
last count I seen was 15 mil.
Or
Oh, that's
even
awesome.
15. Yeah. So that really, what this drop of the Forge mode tells me is that Microsoft probably really thinks of this game now as a solidified, stable house IP. This is not just like this. Oh, this was this one-time thing that we did for some developers so that they can build their dream game. I mean, there was a team of 5 people, right, building it, and
Mhm.
this is now something bigger. And the entire idea of the game is obviously building things, even though the story mode was actually really good. I did really enjoy that too, but yeah, the building aspect already was big, and now they bring the community in to create a lot of things, even the ability to create different game modes now for the game is just awesome to see, because I really enjoyed Grounded, and I actually downloaded it because I need to go back. This is such a calming game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thanos in the chat says it's a horror game.
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
It can be. It really can be. But yeah.
OG Madlocks in the chat as well says, does it have cockroaches? Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah,
it has
roaches,
every
spiders,
rancid
yeah.
beetle you can think of.
Yeah. So true. I think that's really cool to see the game supported like that. And yeah, again, I think that this wasn't the last thing we see from Grounded, because giving the game this treatment tells me that they think of this now as one of their stable IPs, absolutely.
Yeah, this and Sea of Thieves are definitely going into like the
Yeah.
recurring titles that they'll push for sure.
Yeah.
Just how well they've done and the communities they built.
Yeah,
So, I get up for see
Agreed.
it.
The only thing with Sea of Thieves now is Sea of Thieves is getting up to the point where you think, when are they going to stop additionals for this one and potentially start thinking about how they make the next one on Unreal Engine 5? Because this one is still 4.
Yeah. I think it's because of the Disney deal. Like, I think they just weren't expecting to blow up that much with it, probably. So that's probably why just a lot of ideas. Pirates of the Caribbean is another, like, it's
And
a lot
Monkey
of things.
Island,
Like,
of
they
course,
just
which got a
thinking-
really good feedback as well. The Monkey Island expansion that they put on there.
Yeah. So by the time they do think of part 2, you're probably going to see the new Xbox probably around that time. Like, or you'll probably start hearing about it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
they're definitely not in the
And it
rush.
also got me thinking when we will see State of Decay 3, because State of Decay 2 is another one of those games made by a super small team that they've continuously supported now over the years. Major graphic updates, major content updates, and or was it, Dutch, help me out, I think it was 12 million players that they passed with State of Decay 2, and State of Decay 3 was announced in 2020. My guess is still that this is probably going to be a 25 game State of Decay 3, but yeah, that's going to be another one where they will like have this continued support of a game. Games as a service, which they seem to do really well with some games. Even Halo is now back to actually a major player base. Yesterday they surpassed 70,000 concurrent players on PC, which is insane. If you think about it, the latest season is apparently really good. Haven't played it myself, but yeah.
The thing about games as a service, though, it can be make or break because it's all about first impressions. That's all it is. Like, if the content's there, then obviously the numbers will show. But if the content's not there and it's bare bones and doesn't have this, that, and the third, you're going to see drop-offs. You're going to see a lot of people not really.
You see, I think, and this is the one thing we have to give props to Microsoft with, because these ideas and these games, even if you have to think about it, State of Decay 2 launched into an okay state, but it was really infested with a lot of network issues that spoiled it for people. However, they didn't just let it die. They continued with it and patched it and patched it and patched it, and it got to the point now where it's an absolutely amazing game. It's had a next gen update. It's had all of these massive expansions.
Performance up.
Sea of Thieves as well.
Patches.
Sea of Thieves launched with no content, absolutely nothing. That could have died. Microsoft said, nope, just keep going, get it the way you need it to be, and now look at it. Grounded again, same tiny little. It could have just flopped on its butt, but now it's 50 million plus players, and it's a continuous thing with Microsoft. They're willing to sit back and say, listen, we know where you want to be, so get it the way you need to be. You've got our support. And they don't just kill things off just because it doesn't hit immediately. And I think that's the one thing that Microsoft can do because of their monetary backing that some others might not be willing to do, and that's where we'll talk about Sony in a bit.
Yeah.
Let's use that as a segue into the big discussion.
Let's talk about foam stars.
Oh yeah.
We signed for foam stars in the chat. Yeah, hit a 1. Put a 1 in the chat. You like foam stars. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, a lot of things are going on over there, and there's a lot to unravel here today. So probably you guys have seen this, also our community here in the chat, that a lot of layoffs have been happening lately at Sony. I mean, there were the big names, Jim Ryan left, Connie Booth left. When was that? Last week, I think we talked about that. Now they had a major layoff of staff over at Bungie. About 100 people were let go. Actually, in a really weird way, because the staff they were due to get a certain amount of shares of the company. Which they now can't claim. And even Insomniac wasn't immune to the layoff. There were also some staff reduction over there. And I mean, they have been carrying Sony this generation so far. Let's be real.
You would think, if anything, that studio would be given the Naughty Dog S treatment and be given 5 times even more room to what they did to branch out. But that one also got hit. Naughty Dog suffered layoffs because they got rid of contractors for Factions 2. Deviation Games laid off employees. I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot of things going on. So yeah, BitCloud, let us know your thoughts. What's happening over there at Sony? What is going on?
So okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Jim Ryan was the first thing. It was funny how quick the old Jim Ryan era, I guess, ended once the Activision deal closed.
Yeah.
Kind of made you wonder, was his job on the line to begin with if it didn't go through, or he just said, you know what, I didn't want to bother battling or even attempting to, find a solution to the, for Call of Duty. But like we already talked about multiple times, we had this conversation way before this deal closed. Like they have SOCOM. They got Resistance. They got games that can fill in the void. They're not going to replace it, but they'll fill in the void, at least have you something. Killzone, etc. But again, Jim Ryan leaving was the first, shocker right there. But at the same time, once you hear the layoffs, it kind of makes you wonder, is it restructuring? Because there was a report that came out that Sony is, quote unquote, reversing their games as a service mindset.
Strategy. Yeah.
But they said in the fine print, they're not completely abandoning it, but they are going to be shifting away from it to get more games out here. Now, why do you think that is? The reason why they're doing that is because 2024 is a barren wasteland when it comes to first-party exclusives from PlayStation. That's number one right by itself. There's no updates for Sucker Punch. There's no updates for Naughty Dog. There's no updates for Deviation Games. There's no updates for Haven Studios.
Studios,
There's no
Haven.
updates for Guerrilla Games. Well,
Yeah.
technically Guerrilla already dropped something, and
Yeah.
Sony Santa Monica already dropped something. So I'm not really going to say nothing for them, and especially Insomniac. Insomniac's the last thing I'm going to say. They need to drop something. They just gave you Spider-Man 2. A lot of people are hoping for Wolverine to be 2024. That's 2025. There's no way that's 2024. There's no way. And if it is 2024, I'd be a little worried if that was 2024. That should be 2025. So when you hear this stuff like this and you see how they've been moving, it's just like, okay, they're probably restructuring. But then you just look at it, you're like, I don't think that's the case. And here's why. So they just launched they just started pushing the whole streaming aspect of their games yesterday. A lot of people were streaming it, and it was funny how a lot of hypocrites in the community all of a sudden think streaming games is great.
Yeah.
It's funny when I saw that. It's amazing. There's no latency, guys. It's great. I'm like, you don't say. Okay. Well, so there's that.
Yeah.
So streaming games was the thing yesterday.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you remember they about to drop another piece of hardware, which is that Portal. And then we got the Slim, which is also got a lot of people looking at it a little sus because of how it looks and how the build quality. I don't know if you guys seen the stand. Have you guys seen the stand?
Yeah,
I've seen the stand. Yeah.
Boy, listen, there's a lot of stuff.
Even then, though, the side-by-side comparisons, the PlayStation 5 Slim looks... I don't know what it is about it. If they went with a shiny shell this time, it looks cheap.
Yeah, it looks like one of those Chinese knockoffs.
It's not just me that it looks like a knockoff.
Yeah.
Right, it looks like plastic. It don't look like a shiny material. It looks like straight plastic. And it don't look like it's built well at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is what you guys went with. I get it. You guys are like, the only reason I would probably give something like this a pass if it was significantly cheaper. Then it would make sense. You get what
you usually expect from a Slim, right?
Right. You get what you pay for. It's cheaper material, cheaper console. It's more streamlined. They're easy to make. Okay, fine. They're charging you more, and they're giving you significantly less. And you
have to pay extra for the stand
behind the paywall. I never thought I would see that. I never thought I'd see that. They're like, oh, you can use that new stand with your older model. Guys, who's out here? Who on this panel is going to spend $30 to go get a new stand for your already existing PS5 when you got a stand that perfectly works, has not failed you, and absolutely does the trick? There's no point in this, and that's where you have to legit look at the situation and then separate a PlayStation fan from a shill/fanboy type of thing. Because it's like, if this was Xbox, it would be World War III.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's been more hardware releases than there's been software releases in 2023 for PlayStation. That's something you can't refute. You just can't refute. There's been a new console, new handheld, what else? A new earbuds, new headsets.
Earbuds. Yeah.
It's sad. And it just goes to show that Sony spend most of their time, I would say their resources, right? But I would just say they spend most of their proper time in terms of fighting the Activision case, as opposed to just letting the deal go through, getting proper strategies in play, and just have something done. If they would have done something, if they would have accepted the deal right out the gate, I guarantee you PlayStation would have had like the servers fixed for the Call of Duty games running on the older gen consoles and whatnot. Those servers would have been back up. You would have had at least, granted, you would have what was like a 10-year, 10-year, whatever gap for this thing that you got. Like you have to wait, but that's fine. You have 10 years to make up something, to come up with something. 10 years to bring up a game from your
actual IP roster,
and do that. And the funny thing is, you got Insomniac. If Insomniac's dropping magic like this with the superhero games, imagine what they would do with a game that they probably would love to revisit.
You know what it is? I want Insomniac to be able to do other things, because the one thing I don't want Insomniac to be is just the superhero company. That's exactly what Playground were doing. Playground were like, we don't want to just be Horizon. We want to be the best at everything, not just Horizon. And I think that's what Insomniac want to be. Insomniac want to just go, you know what it is? We want to do something else because we have the quality and we want to try something else. But Sony just keep going, here's another Marvel IP, here's another Marvel IP, here's another Marvel IP.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
get it. Sony sees the money that Marvel can bring you, period. They've seen it with the movies. They've seen it with, the first game. Obviously, this game did record numbers for them. But it's like, it's going to eventually you'll hit a wall if the quality is not there, number one, but also if the drive is not there to push those. Now, luckily, from what we've seen from Insomniac, the drive is definitely there. They're shoehorning out the characters. They're hinting at other things. So they are clearly locked in. But I'm pretty sure there is a portion of that team that would love to go, damn, I would love to do Resistance just one more time. I would love to bring that back
Yeah.
and do a proper remake. What happened to Blue Point Games? Why isn't Blue Point Games being put on something like that?
Yeah.
That's the question, and there's so many other studios, but we don't know. And if you go by what they've done this year, again, the state of plays, most of the stuff that was shown in state of plays this year could have been tweets on Twitter. Could they not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basic tweets.
Yeah.
Like that game where the dude was clumsy and he can't stand on his feet. Why is that at a showcase? Why is that the first game we see at a PlayStation showcase? That's not something we want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
totally agree. I mean, I think that multiple things come together there. That the one thing you touched upon real quick, BitCloud, was they actually have great IP that could fill the void that they had in their portfolio, which was mainly multiplayer games. People were asking, okay, where's my Sony first-party multiplayer experience? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't ask for games as a service, and multiplayer equals not games as a service. You can do proper multiplayer games, that can be very successful in this day and age. But they don't have to be games as a service per se, That's the one thing that they kind of missed, and they went all in on that games as a service strategy because, well, they also saw the reality that the console market itself isn't really growing them, and so the way how they did it, they are successful. They are very successful.
It has a ceiling, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think any console is ever going to touch PS2 numbers. Again. I don't think we're going to get there. We're going to get closer and closer probably, but I don't think this is going to be dethroned. I really don't. Like, the closest to get there is the Switch, right? Because the Switch is
the
Switch is mobile. So that ties in a completely different field outside of a home console.
Yeah, but even then, you're kind of limited to this.
Yep.
What is it? Maximum, if you can ever reach 150 million customers, plus minus. That's what you can reach with the console. So they are successful. PS4 was a super successful console. PS5 actually is selling a lot of consoles as well. So it's not that they are not doing well, but this is not enough in this day and age to run a successful business. A successful business needs growth. And they've been seeing what is growing the industry. The industry is grown by basically two things that when you look at over the last 5 to, I want to say 8-10 years. It's obviously the mobile sector, but who cares about that? And the other thing is your games as a service titles, your Fortnites, your Apex, your even games like Roblox. They look at that and launch on PlayStation day one, 20 million downloads, bam.
It's not even that though. Too, it comes down to like the optics, right? Like what people see. What have you shown us lately? Well, number one, aside from the hardware, you've also shown that you think it's worth us paying double for nothing, in a sense.
Yeah.
Because they just upped the prices for Plus. And they haven't given you no incentive, no back and patch solution for games they want you to stream. Still to this day, PS3 games, that's still no solution for it. But yet on PC, what do we have, people? We got an engine that we can legit run those same PS3 games at higher performance and run them natively on the hardware. Why is that not on PlayStation? Well, I'll tell you why. Because PlayStation knows that first of all, they know they have a community that's full of bad actors. And I said this with Paris Lily, but Paris Lily said this perfectly. There's a lot of bad actors who will sell you, who will try to sell you something. It's a lot of bad actors. And you see that with the community. You see that with the PlayStation community. When something bad happens with PlayStation, do you guys hear from them as much, guys? No, you hear crickets. But when it's Xbox, who's the first one you hear from? Those said people.
Exactly.
And it's sad because like it's sad because you can't. There's no proper synergy. From what I've seen, there's no proper synergy. Like if you want results, you got to speak up and get results. It doesn't matter what side you're up, you know, what side you stand
Exactly.
for. If you don't step up and ask, you're not going to get those reactions. And it kills me because this year should have been 5 times. Well, it was already a great year, right? But it could have been 5 times even more. You know, you could have had Helldivers this year. You could have Final Fantasy this year. The reason why those games got pushed to next year has nothing to do with the amount of games that dropped this year. It has nothing to do with that. They did that because they had absolutely nothing.
Nothing for the for 24. Yeah,
there's
and that's the thing. So when you look at this, so how do you grow your business? Jim Ryan's strategy obviously was games as a service. We're gonna invest heavily in there. We make 10 games as a service titles, and even if 9 out of them fail miserably, and you have this one success with like Fortnite, it's something where you can really attach your fan base to your product, to your console, to your platform. Also, when you look at subscription, the main reason people still subscribe to PS Plus is basically the multiplayer. Which obviously is lacking now, and then they see now that especially with Activision Blizzard being part of Microsoft now, they see the potential there. Of course, okay, what's going to happen? Our biggest competitor is growing significantly, and they are investing. They are doing things differently. They are trying to innovate for multiple reasons. I don't think that upper management at Sony was really happy with the vision that Jim Ryan provided for PlayStation. And then you look at like your core business, because PlayStation is the biggest single business unit in Sony. They make more money off of PlayStation than of TVs and the movie the Sony Entertainment.
Because one thing I've read about Sony division. Loves the optics. They love to look the best they can. You know what I mean? So when you got legit PlayStation gamers tagging you in every post you're doing, dislike bomb in every video you're doing, because that's what's been happening lately. I don't know if you guys have seen it. You guys got the YouTube dislike thing on your browser, but you've seen it. But that portable got dislike bombed to oblivion. The state of plays as of late have been getting dislike bombed to oblivion. Why? Because the community does not like what they're seeing. They want the updates they want. Granted, third-party games, we both know, we all know this. This is good for all sides. That's fine. But guess what? That's for everybody. What you need to show me is what makes your box stand out to the competition. Okay. And stuff that I want to see, you're not showing. And what's even more funny about it, the stuff that I want to hear about, I'm getting bad news for, and potentially probably not going to get. Factions is at the point where it's a 50-50 chance it's going to get canceled. And if that gets canceled, y'all thought I complained earlier about Naughty Dog. Y'all don't want to be around. Y'all gonna feel my wrath if that gets canceled. Because I said this flat out when dudes damage controlled and said that the game was worth. You remember this, Dutch? Yeah. They said it was worth $70 for a repaint. Yeah. How can you charge me $70 and you can sit here and say it's worth $70 when you already played that story? Number one, you know the story is short. Yep. Let's face it. Last one is a short story. It's not worth $70 for a repaint. Number one. Number two, it doesn't have the basic factions in there. Oh, and what was the damage control? Well, you can play the old factions for free right now. You guys just looking for something to complain. Really? Why would I want to play factions on an old engine when I got a brand spanking new engine that's pushing new graphics, new movement, faster movements, better AI? Why would I want to play that on an old joint? I'd rather play the new. And that's the problem. People give too many passes and they don't want to keep the same energy. And that's what happens when you don't keep the same energy.
Don't speak up. Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing that the Xbox community does actually really well, because now granted, you cannot say that Microsoft probably had over the last couple of years a couple of missteps more, but at the very end of the day, that's really a difference I see in the community. But I missed the super chat and I need to catch up on that. I always feel bad because Tron TJ sends in a $2 super chat and says, "Hey guys, Sony will be an app soon." Yeah, see,
honestly, it honestly feels like all the consoles will be an app at this point, in a weird way, because everybody's moving towards that particular service route. You know what I mean? Like Gamepass is already getting, like, by the time they're done with this, King, dropping Crunchyroll
Yeah.
and all that stuff into it, and then you have obviously Call of Duty Mobile, which would probably be part of it as well. I can see that on your phone down
Yeah.
the road, so I can see it absolutely happen. PlayStation. Here's the wild part, Box. I don't know if you read about it. Did y'all hear about this? I don't know if Dutch is still here, but did y'all hear about that they were testing trophy support on PC?
Yes.
I
I've
feel
seen that.
there is some kind of app, some kind of launcher, some kind of something is coming. Whether it be just PlayStation Network, and they just read it, they call it, PlayStation Network on your phone, whatever. I feel like that is exactly is going to happen, and you're going to
It's
have.
funny
that
you say
synergy.
that.
I feel like it's going to happen.
Exact same thing.
It's too
because
good. It's too good to be true. I feel like it's going to happen.
The thing where it becomes difficult for Sony about bringing their games to PC is the way how they monetize on PC, because they can only publish through Steam, basically. What Xbox obviously has, they have the app already. Yeah, you can. Granted, nobody buys through, or at least nobody I know buys through the Xbox store, but you can do that. But more importantly, obviously, all their games come to Gamepass anyway, and you gotta have the app on PC for that. So there's a reason to get into the Xbox ecosystem. You don't have to have Steam, to play Xbox games on PC, but
It's
with
very
PlayStation,
seamless,
that's not the case. Yeah, so. And that's obviously one thing. I would assume that they have a launcher. I still don't think that they become an app per se, because what it feels to me, and Dutch, I don't know what you say about this, but seeing all the hardware peripherals that BitCloud mentioned that they launched, from earbuds to weird handhelds that you can only use in your own home for streaming, and all the other things that they released this year, it kind of feels more like they want to become the Apple of gaming, and that's also the kind of way they behave. Have these proprietary peripherals, the proprietary software that only runs on that.
They're working on too that hasn't dropped yet, but I don't know if y'all saw the patents for it. It's a new controller, new DualSense controller that can charge the earbuds, so the earbuds can go on the controller.
Click in on the top. Yeah, I've seen the patent. Yeah,
so it's like they already. It kind of just what you just said. It pretty much is what you're seeing, a rough draft of what you're kind of already getting right now on here. They're building.
That's just another way to significantly reduce the battery life of an already poor battery controller.
Haven't improved that.
So, yeah. So we've been going off the rails here a little. A lot of layoffs happening, which is always a shame, and also very weird to me attached to that. And I do feel for the devs. I hope that everyone who got laid off is recovering really, really soon. But we still haven't got an announcement who will be actually the successor of Jim Ryan. It's been a while now, that he has left. 6-7 weeks.
They announced the guy that was going to do it. He's a guy that's been with the company for 30 years.
Yeah,
like that. I forgot who it was. That's another.
But they said that he's just the interim guy until they have something to announce. So he was the CFO over at Sony. But I can't remember his name, Japanese name. I can't remember it.
Maybe Herman Holtz gets the upgrade too, but I don't think he is going to get that because I think he's too right now. I think he's too laid back in his role. Shuei Yoshida, I think we can all agree. Shuei Yoshida is like the grandfather we all love. Like he's not really going to do that because he actually took. Like the reason why Shuei Yoshida took the demotion type of thing he did for what he is, where he's talking to smaller devs because he likes to travel, he likes to interact with everybody. Yeah, he likes to talk with everybody. So I don't think he's going to be that guy at all for that. And he already knows the trouble that comes, I guess, as a CEO. So I don't think he's going to do that. Personally, that's the thing. Like, if you go to all the CEOs, Andrew House is gone. Right? Let's just go ahead and count it.
Yeah.
Andrew House is gone. Adam Boyes is gone. Kaz Hirai, who was on the board of directors after he left, he's officially retired. He's no longer with the company. Jim Ryan just left. You had Jack Tretton, who left. Sean Layton, who left. I mean, there's so many CEOs that have left. So it's really, it is interesting how they go about it. More than likely, they'll probably get a CEO that we haven't seen ever on stage or whatever. We've seen Jim Ryan probably once before he ever became CEO. We saw him one time, and he was talking about not mobile, but he was talking about apps on your PlayStation 4 at one of the showcases. And then that was like the last time we saw him until recently when he became CEO.
Yeah.
So it's probably somebody that was on one of these stages that we have seen, or we have seen once, or probably never seen. Or probably so you probably seen if you went to one of the events, right? You probably ran into him, didn't even know who he was. Maybe that person's gonna be the person who takes over. But it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But
and
you know,
it is really weird to see. Yeah, you have this captainless ship right now. They are laying off people left and right, even from the studios you would definitely not expect it from, like Insomniac. Then at the same time, you don't have a real direction where you're going to. When you think back to the PS4 generation, like they literally sold that console on the promise of on the promises that they made early in the gen, when they announced games like Death Stranding, and it came out 5 years later, and Days Gone, and God of War, and Spider-Man, and people knew what they are buying into, and now we have this direction.
But you see the different type of like hype trains Sony was on back then, like how they kind of built it. Like you guys remember the presentation with the shows and the orchestra? Yeah. You're not getting that anymore because they know they've already. Oh yeah, the flute man.
And you're not having that right now. The only real major AAA game that people are genuinely excited for is probably Wolverine, and that's about it. Yeah. You already mentioned it a couple of times. 2024 looks bare drive for their first party releases.
Like honestly, I'm surprised Sucker Punch of all developers doesn't even have an update for you guys. Like, you know, like a trailer.
You've got to think back as well, though, to like the start of the even before the gen started, where the strange things began. Like before they launched the PS5s, instead of giving it out to like generalized media first, they got just a bunch of random Japanese streamers and content creators to play the console first, and then talk about it. And then we got, of course, that meme with the guy with the controller blown into the bottom of it, and that was just like
that dude who he botched taking the side plate off, showing you the SSD, or not the where you can do the external storage and how you take the side plates off. It was just like at that point, like it's like okay, like some things we gave passes for. Yeah, like okay, maybe they're just maybe they're just just getting into XYZ. But then as you see it progressively get worse, you're like, what exactly is going on? And what's your mind? Keep in mind, Tom Henderson called all this stuff to a T. So he called all the accessories, he called all the consoles, so to speak. Right? He called it. So one thing he said in his report, and Boxy, this is where 2024 gets even more funny for me at least, because it's like, again, we haven't learned our lesson. Because you got the new PS5 Pro, or I'm sorry, Slim, that's launching, right? I don't know, I forgot. Was it this month or next month? I forgot what month.
Yeah, I think at the end of this month.
So you got the PS5 Slim with the detachable disk drive and that weird internet things. You
the required online connection
the DRM.
For this drive.
Yeah, the DRM.
Yeah.
I love the damage control for that. I saw on Twitter, like, oh guys, it's just for that. No, it should already have that built in. You shouldn't have to worry about that type of stuff. But again, it's on us. But you got that. Now you got a Pro that was supposedly going to come out in the year following. So just think about that. Yeah. If the Pro drops in 2024.
Yeah.
There should be a riot in the street.
And we shall see, because that's the thing now. We know they all the reports tell us that they want to course correct this games as a service approach. And the question to me really is, what does that mean for all those studios? Because we know that, for instance, Spend was working on a games as a service multiplayer game. Factions, we already talked about that with Naughty Dog. So we really don't know what Sucker Punch was working on. Now, assuming that not all, but many of them worked on games as a service titles, what does that mean now that they course correct this direction? Are they going to reboot some development processes there? Will this
I would hope
even
so.
further delay the games? We don't know. And that's the biggest problem, the really piss poor communication that they have. We don't know what these studios that people are genuinely excited for on the PlayStation side of things actually do. And will it delay their next releases even further now that they move away from games as a service? It just feels so directionless, and they are so out of touch with the community with this really poor communication. And in the middle of that, without having a proper captain that gives you like the new energy, the new spirit, okay, that's where we want to go. Does it really help to release a PS5 Pro? I'm not sure, because at the very end of the day, I'm all pro models. Definitely, that's no secret. I want Xbox to do one too. I like the idea of PS5 Pro and an Xbox Series X.
But this soon?
Whatever.
But this soon, after what you've already been playing, you've been getting some great games. I feel like it's a little too soon, especially when you just dropped a new revision the year prior.
Well, 4 years into the generation. Yeah, 4 years. But the question really is, for who is a PS5 Pro? The PS5 Pro is really not for the casuals. Yeah. It's not. It's just the Pro models are for your hardcore fan base, those who are already your customer.
I think the main problem we've got though, Boxy, is that right now there is no justification to launch one because they have nothing to launch it with.
That's what I was getting to. You know, you can't have the PS5 Pro alone next year. You have to have something exciting launching with it. Because at the very end of the day, you need not just a graphic showcase, obviously, but still content is what sells or grows your brand. And what all that the PS5 Pro does with the lineup we know of is giving the hardcore fans a little bit more shinier PS5 model, but you're not gaining any new customers. You're not growing your brand. So the question about them doing well, they will still do well. I'm not sitting here doom and gloom, because at the very end of the day, PlayStation is a super well-known brand, especially around the globe and outside of the US. We've talked about this so many times, how they outsell Xbox here in Europe 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. But
Sony, you'll probably see Wolverine, like we were talking about earlier, in next year, but it'll probably be running on Pro hardware. You'll start seeing like in-engine stuff on Pro hardware, make it look different. Like, hey, look, guys, you think we push PS5 power? We haven't done it yet, and that's going to be their optics going into this. But
so and then you have on the other side, you have now Xbox, which actually their future has never looked brighter. Yeah. We know about Avowed, and we know about Hellblade 2 coming next year. Stalker 2 is coming. Obviously, Towerborn, all a new flight sim, and all those games. And that's just a small part of the games we know. We know they have bigger unannounced games that will also launch next year. And then you look the year after, where you have Indiana Jones and Fable and all the new Doom, and it's just crazy to look at how good the future of Xbox looks. And now with ABK, obviously, even the casuals are catered to. With Call of Duty, you have that in Gamepass, which is still the best value you can get in gaming. So now, and this is not balanced out by PS5 Pro at the end of the day. Will they be still the globally more successful brand? Yes, because it takes years to to close the gap in between PlayStation and Xbox. Obviously, this isn't done within a year or two. But what I feel that Sony really needs is to generate genuine excitement. And I'm not talking about the blind fanboys that like everything that Sony does. We have the same on the Xbox side of things. But what they generally need to do is generate, again, excitement around the brand and their IPs, because that's what I have not been seeing for the last, I want to say, almost 2 years now. It's the only positive news you get from Sony right now is when they release something like the earbuds, which still I wouldn't even consider that really positive. You know what I mean? But you have an empty pipeline of games. You have questionable price decisions on your hardware and accessories, and you have really no direction where gamers are excited, because I've seen nobody being excited about foam stars and stuff like that. And then I want to bring...
You've seen some, but like I said earlier to both of you, they're bad actors.
Yeah. And then
Dutch don't talk about
yeah.
But bad actors. That's all I gotta say. Terrible actors.
Exactly. So and then you look at something like Marathon, which new Bungie, or well, not really new, but reboot of a very old IP, Marathon, and even that is now really questionable. I don't know if you've guys seen this. HD Cross actually reported, and he's a real Bungie insider, like a Destiny guy, that Bungie had some streamers that stream Escape from Tarkov play the Marathon game, and they did really not seem very much interested in the game. Bungie asked them apparently if they would play Marathon if it released tomorrow, and no one raised a hand. So not even that looks like something that is that people seem to be excited for. So that's what do you think?
Is it more of Destiny, but just like your robots and you customize the robots? And was that what they were making on with this game? Because they didn't really show powers or anything. You know what I mean? We just saw like custom fibers and like colors with the robots, and then we saw weapons, and then that was it. It said Marathon. So I'm wondering, is it like I was expecting? You guys remember the movie iRobot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was expecting something like that.
With
Some cool robots, and then just like not really mechs, but all out warfare type of thing. You know what I mean?
I really didn't get any vibe from it. I couldn't really see where they are going with this. What's it gonna be? I don't know. And now we see this. Dutch, you've been awfully quiet. Share your thoughts, man.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, again, it started off with Bungie kind of apparently kind of saying, no, you need to go back to the drawing board with Factions 2. That's not like it's not going to work. Doesn't have the longevity. So you need to sort that out. And then we've this week had the 100 head count reduction for Bungie, which has affected Marathon and Destiny's new DLC. So Destiny's new DLC has been pushed back till later next year. Where Marathon's now apparently being delayed out till 2025. So, and that was one of, if not the only first-party game that was scheduled to drop next year, which has now been pushed out. It's just slightly bewildering as to how Sony ended up in this position. Like
you're saying COVID. I don't think it's COVID.
No, it can't be, because the competition, both Nintendo and Xbox, have still been doing exactly what they need to do. They've been getting back on top of it. I think Sony's the issue with Sony is that they had a boatload of things that they had in the works. Those things have now released, but there is no pipeline to replace it as yet, or nothing that's close on the horizon that they can confidently talk about that is ready.
And even the games that released, like last year's Horizon Forbidden West or God of War, those were all games that were greenlit under Sean Layden. That's still...
Yep. There's like nothing that output-wise, it's been like... aside from games, this is why we couldn't give Microsoft like true. As much as they've had a good year this year, I can't still fully give them big props for first party because everything was delayed from last year. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Xbox has had the best of years because it's just a year that's been pushed on. And next year is the first year where we'll have games coming out on the dates that we've been told that they're coming out in both Avowed and Hellblade.
I hope we get a gameplay presentation of that game soon.
Yeah, no.
I'm getting like I'm happy for the team. They're proud that they can do the I'm talking the
Yeah.
cutscene to
Yeah.
in-engine or whatever the in-engine cut to gameplay. I'm glad they're showing that up. I'm like, guys, the biggest criticism we all had with Hellblade, those who actually played it, was the combat.
Yeah.
Did you improve the combat? If you improve the
Just wanna
combat,
see
then
it.
guess what? You ain't gotta show me anything else. That's it. The game looks good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a
I'm
case
upgrading
of
my
like
PC
as
for
much as Xbox has had a good year, we can't say listen it was amazing because these were games that were meant to be last year. It's come into this year, so great. I'm glad they did well. Aside from Redfall, which has got its patch, they stuck to their word and did that. But outside of that, PlayStation is now in the point where Microsoft was at the beginning of Gen, where they had nothing.
Like
They
a
had-
dry year.
yeah. An entire dry year, and this is next year. I think for PlayStation, outside of Rebirth, which isn't first party. Outside of that,
Yeah,
they have
and only 2
nothing.
months exclusive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what Microsoft had in 22. They had a third party exclusive and no first party. They have
Yeah.
nothing. So
So do y'all think that's going to be their key for 2024? Third party exclusivity.
I think they're gonna nail down on it again. Yeah, 100%.
I don't think that they have any other option.
Yeah.
Because nothing else is ready.
Yeah.
I mean, what else was? Do you guys remember third party wise? What was dropping next year? I mean, I know Metal Gear. Was it Metal Gear Sneak Eater?
Stellar
Is that
Blade.
next year? I forgot. Oh yeah, that was supposed to be this year though.
Yeah.
wasn't it? Supposedly.
Yeah,
But we
it got
didn't get
delayed.
anything. Yeah, we haven't got anything on Stellar Blade. So yeah, Stellar Blade.
So there's like there is a bunch of third party stuff that they've already got in the pipeline that's exclusive, but I don't think in terms of big hitters, Final Fantasy Rebirth is the
Yeah.
only one that they've got that's a big hitter in terms of third party exclusivity. But I do. I think they're gonna have to nail down on third party exclusivity again, as much as we all hate it because it doesn't really benefit anyone other than themselves.
Yeah.
In terms of their own competitiveness, that's the only way they can do to try and make up for the fact that they have nothing to present next year for first party. I just think, as it stands right now as well, unless we see, especially at the beginning / middle of next year, if they don't show something soon for the games that they've got in 25 and beyond, we could be looking at a bigger dry period than I think we saw with Xbox. And that's the only concerning thing for me, because it's not a case of games are just not in the making. It's games that are in the making are either severely undercooked or they've been pushed back because it isn't what they thought there was going to be. Or they're now turning around and saying, listen, we're still going to do games as a service, but we're kind of dialing it down a bit. We're kind of going back and doing more of the other stuff as well now. And if that's the case, and they're reducing kind of the investment of the games as a service in order to concentrate on trying to get the regular first-person AAA stuff dialed in as well, then we could be looking at further delays, because it means these other projects are only either just in the pipeline or just beginning, and then the games as a service stuff might, because of the headcount reduction and because of the reduction in funding, could take longer to come out in the first place. So we could end up seeing a much drier spot than even Xbox did, and even maybe tail into like midway through 25, if not longer, until we see a first party release, which is just a bit concerning. And I don't know where they've went so terribly wrong in their approach, but I think Sony's problem is unlike Microsoft, who invested in all areas equally, they didn't go, we're going to go all in on games as a service, because they knew that was foolish. Not like even just industry track record, not every games as a service game works. We've seen so many try to come out, try to be successful, and they're not. It doesn't work like that. It's literally not even a 50-50. It's like a 70-30 split on whether or not it's going to be successful. 70 that it isn't, 30 that it is. It is that big of a gap. So you can't go all in like Sony were apparently doing. You have to just evenly spread across everything. You have to say, right, we'll invest in a couple of like games as service games. We'll invest in first party games, and we'll single player games, and we'll invest in some just regular AAA multiplayer games. They were good spread across the board, and that's how they should have done it. I think the issue is here is they've just changed focus far too much to one side, that they now have zero focus. They don't know what direction they need to go in. They don't know I don't think Sony know where the industry's going, and that's the problem. Microsoft are always going, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, like we saw mesh shaders on Alan Wake 2, and that's proven, performance-wise, to have made a difference. And they've been drumming that beat for ages, and we're like, when are they going to use it? When are they going to use it? Alan Wake 2 uses mesh shaders. Lo and behold, the performance difference. And they're like, okay, that's why they brought that in the first place. So they knew they had a little head start. They said, right, okay, right now it's not going to do anything, but later on down the line, this is where the industry's going, and this is what we're going to focus on. We're going to also invest in mobile, we're going to invest in cloud, we're going to invest in this, because that's where the industry is going. But it doesn't mean we're going to stop investing in consoles or regular stuff or games. All of that stuff's still going on. And this is Sony's issue, is we're just going to go all in on this, and then they forget the rest. If it wasn't for the fact that Spider-Man come out this year, everything else was delayed.
Really, 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 really bad. Like they put more. I mean, again, we all expected they were gonna do like a custom console, you know, the train and all that stuff. We all expected that marketing to happen for Spider-Man 2. But did you guys feel like even with the new custom shells, because they were like, hey guys, we all of a sudden got new shells in stock with the new Pro or the new Slim coming out. Do you guys think they missed a golden opportunity to not make, I don't know, different variations of that just for the Slim models?
Yeah.
That was such
especially
a
when you launch Spider-Man as your big holiday season game, and they launched the plates for the standard base, the current one.
Why not do that with the Slim?
Yeah. It really, it just feels like Sony has a typical management problem right now.
There's no awareness. That's the problem. There's actually no social awareness. And there's like this tone deaf nature. And you see that with Naughty Dog. Like, you know, the soon as like, I don't know if you guys saw the tweets from Naughty Dog. As soon as the report came in and they pretty much confirmed that Last of Us Part 2 was getting a remake, what did Naughty Dog do? Hey guys, here's some of our favorite cosplays from those playing characters from Last of Us 2. It's like, are you guys not looking at what's happening around you? Nobody cares about this game right now. We've already experienced it. We're not looking forward to paying $70 to play it all over again.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know about you. I don't know if you guys like.
I don't know.
Well, it's not only that. Like a lot of people,
the first remake.
I was gonna say a lot of people loved Last of Us Part 2, but a lot of people hated the game.
I did.
Yeah, it's like
it's not a title that you would just jump out and make a remake for. A, it's very recent, very recent.
Yeah.
B, it was a game that literally divided the community. It was one of them ones where people were just like they literally loved it or hated it because of the direction of the story. Literally because of the direction of the story. It wasn't like the first one where you could say if they did a good job, and to me it still wasn't a $70 game. It was like literally charged for an upgrade, and that's it. That's what they should have done. Yeah,
like they would have said, "Hey guys, you own this game, $20 for this upgrade." Nobody would have complained.
Exactly.
I wouldn't complain for that. I would like, that's awesome. You get the same game. No, they want $70, and the dude's like, "Hey, it's worth every pity." You know, the bad actors. Like I said earlier, it's worth every pity. I haven't seen an issue. I'm like, It's a little hard to have issues in the game that's already, you know, been tested multiple times by the same studio. Well, a little hard, but you know
what they probably gonna do, because
it's gonna be re-released on PC. That's the thing too. That's the other thing.
Yeah. That's definitely something PC, and then obviously they will try to hype it up, and I mean they use these kind of things a lot now as the gap fillers in between.
Do you
And
guys expect another collector's edition like they did for the first remake, the first one? Do you guys think they'll do something like
I
that
don't
again?
know. It was
I think they
also a
will.
very weird report 2 weeks ago or so when this company, I'm blanking on the name right now, that does all these statues and figurines for the collector's editions came out and said that Sony told them to actually destroy them.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Hang on. What was that
But yeah, it was
company's
a company that
name?
made all the collectors items, and they told them, "Oh, but this isn't the direction we're going anymore. So destroy all of your stock, even the ones that people have purchased. Don't send them out. Destroy them."
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you would think they would just sell all of it regardless. They bought them and just
Nope.
have momentum.
Said, get rid, destroy, do not sell. Even the ones the people have paid for, get rid.
So are they looking for a new supplier? Because surprisingly, the
They
Venom
didn't say.
statue.
They didn't say.
Yeah,
It was a
surprisingly, the
very
Venom was really good.
weird thing. So I'm not sure if they look into doing collector's editions and stuff, but something caught my eye this week. The Snitch, you know, this
Yes.
famous leaker where
Yeah,
everyone thinks
okay.
that he's working probably at YouTube because
He knows everything. Yeah.
yeah. He came out and said something about a God of War DLC
Mhm.
coming out that it was in the works and is more or less around 60% complete. And he was saying that this could now be actually released as a standalone
Oh, no.
expansion.
Honestly, they did that with Ragnarok. Remember, Ragnarok was
Yeah,
originally
Ragnarok
going
was
to be
just
DLC.
it was
and
too much
became
to
its
put in the
own
first
game,
one, so
too
we made it into a
ambitious.
second.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is probably them confirming that it's not going to be DLC. It's more likely it's going to be part 3.
Yeah.
Well, like what they said at the end of Ragnarok, this is the end. This is the last one we're doing for this one. We're moving on.
Yeah, this DLC is apparently now putting Atreus in the focus, and
Yeah, because remember
yeah.
Atreus, he left with what's her name to become his
Freya.
own man, I guess you could say. So
Freya.
So
Yeah, and then yeah, I feel like they will try to fill up the you know the void that they have right now in their pipeline with things
yeah.
like that, with a remake for The Last of Us 2 that nobody wants, and doing things that are usually DLC for 20-30 bucks now as standalone releases, similar like with Miles Morales or something, you know.
You know what they're trying to do though? I feel like they're trying to do. So they're trying to get you to like really like go all in with Atreus. They really want everybody to like get on this Atreus bandwagon. So like when they eventually remember the prophecy in the original game, the 2018 one, at the end of the game where he saw himself dead in Atreus' arms.
Yeah.
Then there's like, oh, that prophecy was fake. No, it wasn't. It wasn't fake. Y'all played it safe because y'all knew y'all didn't have the foundation yet to set Atreus up for the character. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Kratos was too iconic.
So yeah, I think we all agree that Sony is really in a weird place right now, and we can only hope that they will find a good new captain that can course correct this ship because something feels just very, very weird. And
Do you
not
think
knowing
what kind of like announcement do you guys think would be needed for 2024 to like at least, I don't know, gain good faith again? What you guys think?
I mean, I think that's pretty clear, right? At the end of the day, we like the AAA single player experiences from Sucker Punch, from Naughty Dog.
Game. Like we'll be that one game where you
Ghost of
guys
Tsushima 2.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
Let's go shoot.
Goes. Although I still think like I really, really enjoyed Days Gone. Bend, I think, a super talented studio. Yes, that game launched with a couple of bugs in it, but the game itself was absolutely phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Did you play it on PC? Should have played on PC. It runs
No, I
like
only
a
played it on
treat.
console.
Yeah, it runs like a treat on PC. What about you, Dutch? You
Yeah.
played it, the PC version?
Yeah.
Of Days Gone? Yeah, runs like a treat. That's the definitive version of it. But it's crazy how Last of Us 2, the game that divided the community, gets a second chance for a
Yeah.
remake, and you don't look at games like The Order 1886. You don't look at Days Gone. You don't look at games like that. You don't look at other potential hitters.
Yeah.
So it's sad. But hey, Foam Stars, that's something we should be excited for. Foam Stars.
Woo!
Let's move on
Yeah, so
from this because I think we all know that a new captain is needed.
Yeah.
The company just feels without a strategy for the future and where they want to position themselves in the changing gaming industry. The gaming industry is changing. It's not just the consolidations that we have and see left and right, and Sony being a big part of consolidation as well. I mean, look at what they acquired over the last 2 years. It's like 10 plus studios that they've basically acquired. So they're part of that. But where the position, we're moving into the subscription model more and more. Yeah, we go away from this singular device that you can play your games on. We go into the cloud. We go into mobile sections, and it's just weird. And I feel like they just haven't found their way where they wanna position themselves in. And I do hope that they find a good new captain to course correct this shit. But yeah, let me catch up on a super from Pyro Matt, who sends in £2. Thank you so much. He says, need Beanox doing Xbox mascot kart racer like CTR Crash
Team Race.
Team Racing, exactly. Yes, absolutely. That's what
Banjo Kazooie. That's Conquer would be great from Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, they have now so many characters in their IP roster that would be so iconic in such a kart racer. Yeah, you from the Master Chief to Doom Guy to all the Activision characters now.
Spyro,
Marcus
Spyro.
Yep.
Yeah, Marcus Phoenix, Senua. They have so many characters. It would be super fun to see that, Pyro. I would love to see that.
I'd love to see Killer Instinct, and then you have guest characters.
Yeah,
like these characters as guest characters. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, you got potential, but will they do it? I mean, again, that's just you gotta have your fingers crossed.
They had a couple in Killer Instinct. I mean, they had Battletoads and they had.
No, I'm talking about like if they would actually do another Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely. Killer Instinct 2.
Yeah.
That's another thing people have been asking for, and I'm surprised we haven't heard even a rumor for it because.
Well, they're doing the remake. They're doing the remake of the first one, which is coming out soon.
Are they?
An upgrade. Sorry, the next gen, the official next gen patch for the next one.
Oh, nice.
So we think that's and obviously if they're doing that's kind of like okay, let's get you warmed up. This one's getting a next gen patch and a few revisions and networking things ironed out.
Yeah, see how it's received and see if there's still an audience, and then I agree. I think this is a very good hint to something like that.
Yeah.
But what else was new this week? We had Larian Studios talk about Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox, because that's been something a lot of people have been asking for. And it's now November, and we still don't know when it comes out. But they reassured everyone it's still coming out this year. It's in the final playtest phase, and they want to still release it this year. And so I've seen naturally a lot of people speculate whether that could actually drop in Game Pass. I mean, if it comes out in December, the game has been out for almost half a year by then. which is usually a pretty good time to release a game in Game Pass, would give this right in front of the holiday season, like a
Black Friday.
fresh wind, you know, viral marketing. So I wanted to talk to you about this. First, are you excited for it? And of course, do you think it's a possibility to bring this in Game Pass?
You know, it's good to see for sure. Black Friday, that's where I think it's just really they're going to take full advantage of. Isn't Sarah Bond now controlling everything?
Yeah.
She's the new CEO. So
She-
if we're talking about growth, that would be it personally, just to get as much out there. Since you know they said they're doing the play test, I don't think it would be this month. It makes sense it would be around Black Friday just to get it out there and have everything, have a nice little sneak announcement, you know, kind of like how they did Hi-Fi Rush. So I see it.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
In terms of being excited for it, no. We've had this conversation before, Boxy. This dice rolling version of RPG and clicking the movie characters.
You know,
and
simply
things,
for
just,
that ridiculous notion.
Nah, I'm good.
I'm gonna put on some gameplay for Baldur's Gate
Oh dear me.
3.
No, it's exciting for people who want to play it. I'm glad it's coming to the console. Could it come into Game Pass? Possibly. It's a good possibility. We shall see. Again, leading up to the holidays, it's gonna, if they do manage to get it in just before the holidays, I think that would be a big get. And I might try it if it's in Game Pass, but it's not a game I'll buy. Yeah.
I mean, what we've seen with a lot of games that come in Game Pass 6 months or so after launch is obviously the game gets then automatically a lot of traction. New players coming in, talking about it on the socials, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, and so on. And that obviously is a certain pull factor, you know, to bring even other people into the game on different platforms. So the viral marketing aspect is the Game Pass effect, you know, is something proven, and it totally would make sense to me. And at least I'm happy that Xbox gamers still will be able to play it this year, because it is really a fantastic and phenomenal game. And it will definitely be a big part in the Game of the Year discussion, which already started on the social channels. And yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3 will definitely be a big part of the GOTY conversation. So what do you guys think about Game of the Year? This is going to be a really, interesting year. We mentioned that earlier in the show, 2023 probably being the best year in gaming ever. We had so many big games, from Hogwarts to Star Wars to Resident Evil to Diablo to Final Fantasy 16, then Baldur's Gate, Starfield, you name it. Alan Wake right now, Spider-Man 2, Zelda. It's insane if you think about it. So a lot of games will get snubbed at the Game Awards, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. Where do you think is the Game of the Year discussion going to go? What will be the games that will get nominated? What will get snubbed? What should it be? Dutch, let me hear your thoughts.
You know what it is? The problem is the year's been that packed. I think a lot of the ones that should be nominated won't. I think Hogwarts will be one of the ones that misses out.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
of the whole conversation around it.
Well, not just that. I think the release window and then everything that's launched since.
Yeah, the release window is also.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the case with many games when it comes to Game of the Year conversation.
That's one of the best-selling games this year. Or one the highest.
I think it is so far. It is.
Is it the highest selling game?
I think it's still the highest. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, single-player games anyway. One of the highest single-player games.
Yeah.
I think the only one that can take that away is maybe Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That is yet to come out.
Yeah.
But then But nothing else topped Hogwarts this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I agree. I think that will get snubbed.
I
And
also
it should
potentially
actually,
think,
I think it should be nominated because it really was an incredible game.
yeah,
Like BitCloud, you said it earlier, they captured something special, and they really captured this magical world so well, and told an incredible story that stands on its own without being like a direct knockoff from the books or movies. So yeah,
I think
From
also
the spells,
potentially see
everything.
Starfield miss out.
don't say it, man.
I don't want to say it because it's a great game.
Yeah,
But I think
no.
critically, there was too much.
Yeah, I think Metacritic's gonna be it.
Yeah.
The deciding
Too
factor.
much negative noise from certain people for things that they didn't pick up critically on other games that they're saying is a masterpiece. Like
Yeah,
and again we have to say this because we've been hearing the same noise about Spider-Man 2 when that released. It had exactly the same problem as when Cyberpunk released. Now, when I played Cyberpunk when it released, I had no issues, no bugs. I had a perfect experience to me. However, I'm never going to deny the fact that Cyberpunk had a terrible launch and it was bugged to death and people had a horrid experience. That game should have had more time and it needed to be polished. The same thing, not to the same extent, but the same thing's happening with Spider-Man, where it launched. There was a significant amount of people with many issues, bugs, constant crashing. I know a few people have just said, listen, every time I finish a main story quest, it crashes to the dash. Every time literally as soon as I finish the main quest, it just crashes the thing entirely. And that is the experience of quite a lot of people, but it's just been ignored. It's been swept under. However, then afterwards, a few of these reviewers have said, since the update, I've now been getting a lot of crashes. I've now been getting X, Y, and Z. Like, it's been kind of ignored in comparison to Cyberpunk, which got trashed to death. Even though it was the same circumstances, a significant amount of people were playing that game and had no issue. But a significant amount of people played the game and didn't have and had issues, significant ones. And Spider-Man's had it, not to the same extent, but still has it, where you've still got Spider-Man turned into a cube, and then it has issues. You've still got breaking quest lines. You've still got significant bugs. And it's not people going to find them. Some of these things are happening, like I say, with at the end of a main quest, it crashes to dashboard and things like that. So there's been, I think, critically this year again, it's proven there's a lot of critics that give there's one kind of thing that they do for one game, but they don't do the same critical thinking for the next. And it's whether or not it's the same reviewers or not, the issue is consistency in the industry, consistency on the level of review. It needs to be the same. If you're going to pull up this game on this issue, then you have to pull up this game on the same issue. You can't say, oh, no, the story was so significant that I just forgot about the fact that it crashed 45 times. No. If it had the issue, you bring it up, and you have to treat it the same as you treat the other one.
Same energy problem.
Yeah, same energy across the board. I don't care what game it is or who's giving you the code.
We've had that problem for years now, but this year it was very obvious because two major games launched on both platforms with Starfield and Spider-Man more or less back to back.
Yeah.
And even though Starfield was for the most part a really polished game, especially when you think about some of the older Bethesda launches, this is by far the best polished.
That's the thing as well. Like Boxy, we can only compare a Bethesda game against previous Bethesda games because you're like, is it as buggy as previous ones? No.
Yeah, and there was simply not the same energy because tons of articles were written about the minor issues that Starfield had, but zero to none. Articles were written about Spider-Man's problems. Although I still didn't have the same issues. It was like a few glitches here and there, but really nothing game breaking on my end. But Yeah, Starfield. I could see that being snubbed
Yeah.
in the Game of the Year discussion.
I pulled out the Metacritic for Starfield, and I was going to do a comparison between that
Yeah.
and Hogwarts Legacy. So surprisingly, I remember the Metacritic being higher than this for Starfield. It was like an 88 before.
Yeah.
So is that an 83 on Metacritic right now? But here's where it gets even more crazy. Guess what the Metacritic is for Hogwarts Legacy?
What?
You guys remember that game was at like an 89 or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, but it's at an 84.
What?
Yeah, Hogwarts
It
Legacy
went
went
down
down to an 84.
significantly. Yeah.
So there's possibly a chance that Starfield might not get snubbed. Here, I'll put it here for you guys in the chat. But there's a chance it might not get snubbed, but it's still, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is sitting at a complete 90 on Metacritic.
Mm.
Let me see Jedi Survivor, because we know that's got to be put into.
Yeah, I don't think that
Potential.
Jedi is going to be considered for Game of the Year.
Yeah,
this
neither do I.
year. Even though I
think
had a
it was
blast with it, the game was absolutely phenomenal.
So here we go. This is where it gets weirder. Jedi Survivor is at 85.
Hmm.
85. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's an 85. Jedi Survivor was cool. Certain things I thought were nice additions, like, but
I wasn't keen on the
The
ending. I
glitches
thought
that
the
I
ending
had-
was a bit cut short.
it definitely was, right? It just felt like they tried to do, like, not necessarily a New Hope type ending, but it felt like they were trying to do something a little different. It kind of felt like remember the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
She sees the Force ghosts.
Yeah.
And they give him that nod. They give her the nod or whatever. And then she says whatever she says. That kind of felt like the same thing. Now, they were kind of touching on some cool stuff, because remember, this is the first time Cal taps into the dark side.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, but we already know, they already confirmed, and this is kind of where they spoiled us, because they kind of confirmed that Cal is nowhere near a level where he'll fight Vader. So
Yeah.
he's not going to be on Seer's level. So
But then
I
they
don't know.
only like really show you the dark side at the end of the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So
that's why I was like,
Yeah.
really? Because they were like starting to bring up this dark side, and he's like, I can't like let myself fall into this. And then that was it. I was like,
and it wasn't even no cool shot. Like, bro, like when Anakin kills the youngling and he turns
Yeah.
around over the shoulder and his eyes are bloodshot, like, dark, like Sith red. You don't see nothing like that, or a conflicted type of look. You just kind of just see him tapping into it. He's getting stronger. That's it. But it's like, okay, that's cool and all, but I kind of would like to see a little bit more risk with this. Now, they did say the third one is in development, so
Yeah.
maybe we will get that. But by
Yeah.
the time that drops, it's probably going to be on new hardware. I don't think it's going to be on PS5 or Xbox Series. That might be on PS6.
Yeah. Could be.
So
Could be. Yeah.
it is what it is. But the team, I will
is.
give the team credit though. That is the best team that EA has with them right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
absolutely.
guys have
Absolutely.
really got something special on their hands
Yeah.
with Jedi Survivor, and Ubisoft has something special with the guys who were doing the Star Wars
Outlaws.
Outlaws. That's the
Yeah.
other one. So Star Wars is in good hands, I can say for sure. But
Yeah.
it is kind of sad that this is going to be 2 years more than likely in a row that the same team that gave you at least somewhat of a good game is not going to be mentioned whatsoever. And that's sadly the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. It's I think Metacritic really shouldn't weigh in too much in the Game of the Year discussion. But unfortunately, we all know that it does. So yeah, let me catch up on a super member chat from Dave Ramos. He says, Dutch, you know what critically acclaimed game just released and released in such a lovely state? Talk about putting a stake in the ground for Game of the Year. Yeah, I mean, that's Alan Wake.
Yep.
It's incredibly polished game in a 2023 where almost every game launched with a lot of issues. Even the games that everyone knows that will definitely get nominated, like Baldur's Gate here.
Yeah.
When you got to Act 3, oh boy. polished is definitely something else. But yeah, so what do you guys think? What will get nominated?
So the obvious one right here is Baldur's Gate 3, because this is sitting at a 96
Yeah.
right now, Metacritic. So that is definitely going to be number one on the list for sure. Spider-Man 2 is probably more likely a given, so consider that Jeff Keighley is a big Spider-Man fan like we are, but also the game,
Yeah.
despite the glitches, did deliver. So I could see that going up on the list. The other ones are kind of toss-ups. I would honestly think Starfield has a chance of making it on the list since I don't see
do
Jedi
hope so.
Survivor. Yeah, I don't see Jedi
Because
Survivor.
I think
making it.
that's my game of the year so far.
Zelda will go on there as well.
Zelda,
Zelda's
definitely.
Alan
definitely,
Wake
I'd
looks
say
like it
sure.
will be on there as well, possibly.
How many nominees do they usually have? Is it 4 or 5 or
6.
6.
A 6? Okay. So
Yeah.
Zelda.
They usually have one indie on it. So
Sea of
I could see
Stars.
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Sure.
Being nominated.
then
I
honorable
don't think
mentions.
Diablo 4
Yeah.
will make it, even though it should.
Honorable mention. I can see that be honorable mention. Just like
Yeah.
Star Wars Survivor or would be honorable mention. What else?
Resident
Honorable mention
Evil
would
or
be
Dead
Hogwarts
Space, one of the
Legacy.
remakes. You guys think?
Nah,
Those are
remake.
the
they're
different
good.
categories.
They're good,
Best
but I
horror
don't
game
think.
or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think either that they will be nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, they'll be in different categories. So best horror
Yeah.
game,
Best
probably Dead
remake.
Space. Best remake, yeah,
Wow.
or best retelling or something like that. They'll just
Yeah.
let that. I don't know. So, and that's the crazy thing. That's what happens when you have such a great year. It's hard to choose. Really, it's really hard to choose. It does suck though that one particular game will not make it because of politics. That is
Yeah.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But
So what would be your game of the year? So I already said it. Starfield is probably going to be mine. What's your?
well,
Granted,
Spider-Man
I haven't
was
finished
high
Alan
up.
Wake yet, and it is an outstanding game.
Yeah.
So, but I'm leaving that out because I haven't finished.
So
Yet.
I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and Spider-Man was definitely the game that I was waiting for the longest, and finally got it, and it was great. But here's the wild part: I'm gonna throw a ridge. It's actually probably not gonna be the game of the year that I'll put. For me, I would have to say Liza P. Liza P is probably more likely gonna be it. Personally, if we're talking about just for the challenge, just for that crazy like a sleeper hit that just knocks you out type of thing, like you were not expecting this. It was Liza P. Spider-Man 2 obviously would be the given, but yeah, I want to go like Liza P brought back the Bloodborne feels, and I remember with that intrigue I had for Bloodborne. And that started the road to, on Souls games was Bloodborne for me. So I got that and then some with Liza P. So I'll say Liza P.
Yeah. Sweet. I like that.
Mine.
What about you?
Mine still hasn't changed. Mine's still Hogwarts, believe it or not, because
Hogwarts.
Yeah,
I've been thinking of all the
it's
games.
so good.
Yeah, I've been thinking of all the games
so
I've
good.
played and finished this year, including Jedi, including Starfield, and things like that. And
There's something charming about Hogwarts.
yeah,
but you want to go
strange.
back.
Like even I could put Starfield down and not play it for a few days and not have like the FOMO to just jump back on it. Same with Jedi, I could put that down for a few days and not have the massive FOMO to jump back on it. But with Hogwarts, I was just like, as soon as I'd finished playing it, I was like, I just want to go back and play it. Like, I just want to jump onto it. And those are the games that I think are the ones that cement themselves as game of the years for yourself. And I've seen a few people, especially like Jordan on Twitter as well. He's a massive horror fan and loves, like, he's pretty much played every horror game, and he's playing Alan Wake 2 now, and he's like, this is definitely likely to be his game of the year, and I can see why. There's a lot of people saying they've done really good work with Alan Wake 2. Story wise, the atmosphere, the graphics, like everything, they nailed it. So hats off to them, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. And I think, for me, Hogwarts still sits there as just the one, like Dave was saying earlier on, it's that one that lingers. That's the one that really, the one that sticks with you, and you just go, God, I love that game. Like, I really enjoyed my time with it, and the fact that there's nothing to go for me to go back to with that game, because I've 100%ed it. It's kind of sad to me, because I'm like, oh, I'd love to go and play it again, but I've got no reason to. I have done everything that game has to offer. I've
Yep.
maxed everything in the game. I've done everything. I've done all the
Like,
quests, all this because one of the achievements was to do all of the quests. Another
yep.
one was to collect all of this. So I've done all the
And do
collecting.
all
I've
the
done
challenges
yeah,
and all that stuff.
yeah.
And like it might sound like a chore to an average consumer. To us, it was a treat
It was a
because
treat.
you
Yeah,
just wanted to keep going back. And then you start noticing things like when you go to the Dark Forest. You remember from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban where Harry does the Patronus charm. That's literally recreated in the game. You can see it. You can see a dove that looks like his Patronus running
Yeah.
away, and then it was like they has fun. They had so much fun with the game, and when you have a team
Definitely.
put that type of love into a product and it just resonates with you, it's tough for you to go, damn, how can you not, what I mean? How can you not appreciate this even more? Because they thought about everything so properly. Even the puzzles
yeah.
that were hidden within Hogwarts, you know what I mean? Like certain things about Hogwarts, I didn't think was going to activate the way it did. Like when you find that secret chamber where the little goblins are, where they're
Yes.
like cleaning up the house or
Yeah.
the elves, you know what I'm talking about? Like where the kitchen is. I did not see that kind of wait. Why does it say press this? Like, oh wow, that's where the extra layer, like extra part
And
is.
then,
And
then you can
then
only access certain
the
things
Chamber
when you're in a
Secrets.
certain house, and you can only go in the certain
Yep.
different missions depending on what house you're in. And it's never the
Yep.
same for each one, and that's the little things that they did for it. That like the replayability. If you really wanted to, you could
Oh
replay
yeah.
it with a different house each time, and you'd have different quest lines to go
I
to.
love what
And
they did with the houses too. Like each house has its own cool personality in it,
yeah,
and it's cool. Like Slytherin's house had like the best look for me personally. I loved Slytherin's, but I also like that the other things like Boxy, they actually have the Chamber of Secrets in the game. A lot of
Yeah.
people didn't know that. The Chamber of Secrets is
And
actually there, like the
is
bathroom. If you
there
go by
and
the sink, you can see the snake on the sink, but you can't
yeah,
open it.
and there's this one mission that only unlocks if you choose was it Ravenlock, where you go to
Ravenclaw?
Azkaban.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually started a new game
just to do
just
that.
to do that and see that.
See a
It
Dementor. Yeah, it's really good.
yeah, it really was
Actually,
an
BitCloud, the
amazing game.
what you were saying, the Chamber of Secrets, that was PlayStation only.
Was it really? That
Yep.
was on the Xbox thing? Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I mean
Ah.
you can't like access it or go there, but you can like see like the little snake. You can see like a tiny little like a little thing on it. They didn't show a full snake, but you can see it on the sink. That that's the Chamber of Secrets
Yeah.
door. It would have been cool if you said Revelio, and you hear like a hissing noise. That'd have
Yeah.
been so cool. But
Yeah.
obviously. But
So yeah, there was definitely plenty. Well, what about Mario?
Mario Wonder might get a shout as well,
Wonder.
because that's got some big praise.
yep.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, and they all the Metroid Prime remaster or
Nah.
remake was no, it's not gonna
Yeah,
get
I was
nominated.
gonna
But
say.
I just want to mention it
Yeah. Honorable
because that
mention.
was actually honorable mention because that was actually the biggest surprise in terms of remakes and remasters because Nintendo usually do lackluster remaster, yeah, basically upres and then bam, be gone with it. But this time they really did a lot with it, and then they didn't sell it full price.
Best
It was-
soundtrack. They probably gonna have Mario in that.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's there's so much to play. I don't think that Cyberpunk will have any chance to be even mentioned because that's
Nope.
just basically an add-on
There's
or
too much competition.
expansion. Yeah. Yeah,
I hope this
for me
isn't the
it's
last
still
year we have.
Starfield because man,
Yeah.
I was just so lost, and I'm still playing it. Obviously not to that extent anymore. After starting New Game Plus now, but yeah, I'm just a sucker for those Bethesda games anyway, and they really nailed Starfield. It was like everything I was hoping for. And the things I discovered by accident, this really great side missions that you've just come across naturally by exploring the world. It is just an incredible experience. And actually, Starfield is going to get a big update. I don't know if you've seen this. Bethesda announced this yesterday, actually, that the long-awaited DLSS support, of course, is coming to PC, but also, and I think that is what most were hoping for, finally they will have the proper HDR support, where we'll be able to align, the HDR controls, black levels, brightness, peaks, and so on. Because that's the one thing that bugged me a little with the in terms of the visuals. The colors all seemed washed out. There was just something wrong with the HDR implementation. And this update is coming now. It's coming first to PC before it's released to the consoles. But yeah, I cannot wait, and it will definitely bring me back to playing more New Game Plus right there.
Yeah, I hope this is the last year we have a packed year like this with games. I really hope. I hope this doesn't put pressure on devs to not drop games so close, because honestly, this is all about spoiling us. But again, it depends. It depends.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for some of the great indie games that came out this year, because even I really do love me some indies, but even I haven't played that many indie games this year, simply for the fact that you can't keep up with the major AAA releases.
But the indie category is going to be packed this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear nothing but good things about GoesseN.
Yeah.
Or however you.
Yeah, that scored quite highly, actually. I think it was like an 87 or an 88 or something.
Yeah, something like that. And everyone I see who played it is really talking great things about the game. It's apparently really, really good. The indie category will be very interesting this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, with things like Sea of Stars, Ravenlock, and there were so many.
I love that. I love Ravenlock. I love that game. It was such a cool game, and it wasn't long. It was a nice bite-sized experience. Really cool.
Yeah, 7-8 hours or so. Yeah. That was really, really, really good. So yeah, guys, I wanna move over to our community questions. We are already above 2-hour mark, and each and every Wednesday, our community can send in questions to be part of the show, even if you can't make it live, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening. You can write in questions on Twitter, on the Discord, on the consoles. And this week we got a few really, really good ones. So the first comes in from Dave Ramos, and he says this: my question is about performance on Xbox over the next 3 years. Does Alan Wake 2 provide a peek into the future where devs are regularly using the tools built into Xbox hardware, or is Remedy just good and we shouldn't expect mass adoption?
Oof, that's a good one. I think it's going to be hit and miss still. I think we're going to get some good developers using all the tools available to them, and we're going to get still some sloppy ones that don't use anything and it's poorly optimized, like EA.
Yep. I feel like the same way about that, like I do with the gestures, like Sony puts in their controllers. You notice how hardly 60% of devs use all the features in the controller. They'll just use like haptics and moving forward, or with a few things here. I do see that being the same with Xbox with this until it becomes streamlined.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that this is going to be the standard. There will be some games that have those kind of technologies implemented and others won't. I was honestly really surprised about Alan Wake being the first game to implement the mesh shaders in such a way on consoles, because I always thought, if you think about how these technologies work, and I've said this, I actually made a video about a year ago on how mesh shaders work, and that video is picking up right now on YouTube, like an incredible amount of views. I don't know why, but mesh shaders seem to be the talk, and if you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. Like, I'm getting at least 1,000 views a day right now on this very old video, which is anyway. When you look at how mesh shaders work, the problem with them is this is not like a thing you can toggle on and off. It's really not like things where we say, okay, let's implement FSR and make in the PC build an option to toggle it on off. That's really not how this works, because you have basically a very different rendering pipeline. And so in my mind, I always thought that obviously one of the first parties is going to use it, and then because you basically have to scale the game across different platforms, and you can't even say, okay, then let's just use it on PC as well, because most PCs run on graphic cards that won't support it. Yeah, and if you look at the minimum specs on PC for Alan Wake, you can really tell that. And there are not many developers that want to do that, because obviously your games are developed to be scaled across multiple or as many devices as possible. And I always thought that this is going to be a thing with the mesh shaders. And now Remedy really went out of their way. They put it on PlayStation, developed a pipeline that looks similar, doesn't perform as good, but at least it looks very close to the end result. And that's really a completely different rendering pipeline. And so they really did double the work. And I'm surprised that a developer like them did it, but I do hope that other developers take notice and see that putting in a little extra work can actually benefit your game very, very much. So yeah, I do hope we will see more of that, because it really runs well and looks phenomenal on Xbox.
When are we getting that 007 game? I've been like anxious to see when that's going to happen. I really want to see it.
I don't know. Hitman 3 was like 4 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's been a while. It's been a while in development, and maybe 24. Actually, when you look at 24, there are not that many third-party games announced for 2024.
Yeah, it might be the year, like a stealth, just a shock release for it. But who are they going to model it James Bond after? You guys think Sean Connery? Or do they just going to make their own? They're just going to make their own version of it? You think?
I think that probably the later one. Also, I don't think that they are going for like
Daniel Craig,
some of the old classics like Sean Connery, or I don't think so. Although we know it's an origin story. Yeah. It's an origin story. It's how Bond became a 00 agent. We don't even know what they are going to do with the movies, right? We don't know where they're going to take Bond there. So
well, there's a lot of stuff going on with the movie. I mean, I heard like Idris Elba was supposedly gonna be James Bond or something like that. It didn't. Things kind of stopped. It did there's a lot of things going on. Like after, I don't know if you guys saw No Time to Die. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't really like the way that one ended, to be honest with you guys.
It was definitely unexpected.
Very
you haven't seen a Bond movie.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a Bond movie ending like that ever before, and I did not see that coming, honestly.
It didn't make no sense for me. It's like, okay, you can't be close to the woman you love, so you're just gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get it, but
we shall see. We shall see. Steve, the Aparian, sends in a question that I think we answered that. He asks, what is happening at Sony PlayStation? Should PlayStation gamers be worried? I think we covered that pretty lengthy. So, but shout out to you, Steve, and thanks for writing in. And Fanto Sir says, good evening, brothers. Will we see the Elite 3 with haptics? Leaks suggest the possibility, and as Xbox continues to reach for more cloud and mobile gaming, the controller will be the only essential piece of hardware required to play games in the future? Thoughts?
To answer that, yes.
Yes, I think the Elite 3, but also I think regular controllers will have haptics.
Yeah. The way they do
with
it though, it's like vibration all in the not just in the triggers, right? And for what the links
Yeah.
are saying, it was like in the grips itself. That's why I had like
the grips and
like
the
rubber.
sticks and yeah.
So they were trying something different.
Yeah,
And
it's
and
a
I
bit
agree
different,
with
like,
you,
if-
Dutch.
I know the internals
Yeah,
of
please.
both of them, and obviously the all the Xbox controllers, including the Elite controller, has rumble in the grips, but it's also got rumble in the triggers. But it's the haptics in the PlayStation controller are a little bit different. They've got these larger, much larger motors in the controllers themselves,
and they like click and lock at
Yeah.
certain tensions.
that is, it's not, it's strange because it's not specifically, like, I don't know how it's got the feeling it has, because it doesn't look like it does much. These two giant motors on either side of the controller, so they don't have any in the triggers, they don't have any in the grips, they're just like on either side of the controller, but it somehow gives the feeling of this kind of this rumble in the triggers and rumble in the rest of them individually. So it's a bit of a strange one. The tension thing, of course, is relatively easy to do. I don't know whether or not Xbox are going to look into the tension thing, because I think that's a bit love or hate. A lot of people just turn the tension thing off, especially for shooters. Whereas in single player games like Horizon, etc., with a bow and arrow, that's a cool little addition. You can feel the tension on the arrow getting pulled back and things. That's cool. But when you're doing a shooter and the gun jams and it doesn't let you fire, and like that's just
or like
turn that
web
off.
swinging, you feel the tension when you web swing, different momentum.
But again, it's as you've mentioned with PlayStation, it's how many people actually implement these things. And like the issue we had with the Xbox original triggers, the rumble triggers, was that only Forza implemented that. No other
Call of
game.
Duty took no advantage of them.
Yeah.
There was no shooter that really cared about them at all. And I was like, I was expecting that to be cool, because the way they were talking about those triggers, I remember they were saying how each particular gun, obviously in real life, sounds different but feels different. They were trying to say like you can actually get that accuracy or accurately in a shooter, and you never got that ever implemented. So it's the only thing you the only thing you got was basically just parity amongst the console, which was a shame.
And now if you put that into an Elite 3, where the install base is then more or less super small, it will even less incentivize developers to actually implement those features. So yeah, Dutch, I'm with you. I don't think that this will be a Elite 3 exclusive thing, that they do like a revamp of the controller in general. Maybe for their slim model that is coming out next year, and then have simply a wider install base of haptic controllers. So yeah, we shall see. Our friend Hertog Vinny wrote in and actually asked what are our GOTY Game of the Year contenders. I think we covered that, but shout out to you for writing in.
Yep.
And Barry Shetkins asks this. With thousands of layoffs in the tech sector, do you expect hang on. With thousands of layoffs in the tech sector, do you expect to Xbox Bethesda also announce staff cuts soon?
Not immediately, but yes, they will have layoffs when it's implemented, because there will be redundant rules, like the finance side, like the HR side. It's unfortunately, it's part of mergers. It's just when you can't, because when you merge two companies together, certain rules literally just become redundant. It's not because they don't want to retain them. It's because we literally don't need you anymore. We have a giant HR team. We have a giant finance team.
Unless they get transferred to the Microsoft
just
portion
internal but even then, there is still going to be people that aren't required. Like, they don't need an additional head of finance, because they've already got a head of finance.
Certain shift managers who let all the drama happen recently with like the accusations. I expect them to be gone. Bobby Cox already said he's going to be gone. So Phil's going to be filling
there's going to be a shake-up.
Yeah,
there's going to be refinements. There's going to be like, okay, what rules are and aren't needed anymore? What's happening with the marketing team? Are we going to retain half of them? We're going to retain all of them? Like,
Yep.
how did they work?
Better
What
quality
benefits did this
assurance.
team bring? Yeah, there's going to be lots. I don't suspect it's going to be. Obviously it's not going to be pleasant, but I don't suspect it's going to be like mass amounts. But not
You're
none.
going to see them like periodically drop
Yeah,
off, and
yeah.
then the quality is going to differ, I would say, because a lot of these games are probably already done. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? In the midst of this, the merger. So by the time let's say the 10 years is over with, then you'll probably start seeing the real change in terms of like games improvements and quality assurance. I guess that's the proper way. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a growing process, but you are going to see a dip in terms of people getting let go because it's just part of the acquisition mergers.
Yeah.
So,
And besides that, Microsoft actually already had a layoff
huge
streak.
call.
If you remember,
Yep.
like 343, and others were affected. So, but yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. Acquisitions and mergers just
it's a
bring that.
gift and a curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
good and the bad.
that's
Obviously, these
that's the thing.
guys, especially if they're long term, it's not going to be like what's happened at Sony recently, where it's just cut them short and like, okay, see you later. Like these, they're going to get significant redundancy packages from these guys.
Yeah.
So it's a case of they'll go off with essentially here's a little golden parachute depending on how long you've worked here, and you're going to get good references. It's not that we don't want
a
you
revolving
here,
door effect.
Yeah. It's not that we don't want you here. It's just unfortunately that your role is literally not required anymore, and that's just a part and parcel of it. And I think quite a few people at Activision Blizzard will be suspecting that at some point. They'll be like, right, okay, within the next 6 to 12 months, I could be redundant because of my position. I don't think specifically devs. There's going to be maybe a few.
Agreed. This is more in the overhead.
Yeah. It's going to be
HR
back
department,
office,
marketing.
Yeah, back office stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
I mean, they got to be looking at the way this Call of Duty has been received, right? And like the marketing for this one is just how the team is, behind this thing going, you know what? Okay, you. We won't be seeing you next year. You know, I'd be like just based on what this. So I guarantee they're looking at the data in regards to that and are already thinking of a whole new marketing team all by itself just to push that. Because number one, we already know this is going to be what, guys? This is going to be the Game Pass mascot, Call of Duty by itself.
Yeah.
So they want that mascot to look as most appealing as possible. And they got to fix that.
I tell you what, man, if they manage to get World of Warcraft on console.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. That's going to do numbers.
And I think I didn't even think about that, but that is another good idea for them. And this might go and play with that digital Xbox that's supposedly coming down the road.
Yeah.
That might be something that they build towards. And again, if that's what they're going to go for, listen, you already got Call of Duty. Call of Duty's already in mobile, and surprisingly, it does really good. Call of Duty mobile. And you got King with not Crunchyroll.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, thank you.
Yeah.
And though, again, you have all the tools you could possibly want to branch out even further and push. So, and then you got Bonnie Ross taking care of the Xbox thing. All you need is Phil to just handle the Activision. And personally, I don't see anything weird happening with Phil under Phil's eye. I just don't.
No.
It might take a slow process though. Phil makes a lot of promises, and it takes a minute. We gotta admit that it takes a minute, but I can't deny the dude hasn't delivered. He has delivered on a lot of his promises that he said for Xbox. It just takes a while. So,
all right, gentlemen, let's close the show with that. It's been an absolute blast for the last 2.5 hours. And BitCloud, thank you so much for coming on here and joining us here. It's always super fun chatting with you about gaming. So, yeah, in case people don't know where to find you, let them know where to find you and what you've coming up.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure hanging with you guys. There was no midway mix-ups. I was like, what's happening? So I had to come through.
Yeah.
But shout out to you guys. Much love. Everybody in the chat. It's BitCloud Gaming. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Find me on those platforms. And man. A lot's happened. It's a lot of cool stuff. Great, started a new job, and finally reached my end goal. Yeah, as I lost over 70 plus pounds, so I was blown away by it. Big Cloud
Super
is
proud of you.
is under the 220s. I'm doing
Nice.
good. I feel great, and
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to going to PAX. So I might see these guys at PAX or one of these shows. I might pull up unexpectedly. They say me at one of these events, but it's a lot of cool stuff. So hope you guys enjoy, and y'all be safe out here. Enjoy your games, and see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Again, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's out.
And yeah, Dutch, let everyone know what you've coming up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we
so-
know about the charity thing, but
Yeah.
probably you should shout out that again.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, of course, like I say, we've got next week is the beginning of our charity stream. So we're doing our guys, Midweek Mix Up, Patcher and Vin and a few others are doing charity streams throughout the week next week. So nighttime, shorter ones, finishing the week with a marathon stream, 24 hours on the 11th and 12th. And then on the 23rd, 24th, I'm doing a mountain climb / hike for charity as well. And this is all for special effect. So yes, that's what I'm mainly focused on over the next couple of weeks. Apart from redoing this room before next week begins. And yeah, then we'll get back to kind of I've just hooked up multi-streaming now as well. So instead of doing Twitch on certain days and YouTube on certain days, now they're both going to get equal gameplays. So it's going to be running gameplay streams 3 times a week on both YouTube and Twitch, and the podcast on YouTube as well every week. So things are refined a little bit more now there. I'm looking forward to doing that. So you'll catch me doing gameplay streams on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and the podcast every Wednesday when I get back into things as a more streamlined thing there. But yeah, that's me, and of course you can find me everywhere at WandrinDutch. So yeah, it's been awesome, and it's been awesome to hang about with BitCloud again for a change. I know it's every now and again, but it's good when you do.
Oh yeah, it's always fun. Did you make a new Twitter? I forgot after your old Twitter.
Oh yeah, it's the new Twitter. Yeah, WandrinDutch X. Old one's just gone in the bin. Yeah.
Is it gone permanently? Oh no,
Yeah.
that sucks. That sucks.
So yeah, start from scratch. It is what it is, but there we go.
All right. So yeah, let me also thank everyone who tuned in here today, and of course also a big thank you for all the super chats and channel members. Super appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We will be back next week with another great guest, and until then, all I can say, enjoy your gaming, because it is a fantastic time to be a gamer. So hope you have some time to play some games over the weekend. And other than that, I see you guys next week, and don't forget to game on.